Oh, you didn't know? This environment tough. 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 Policy scholarship. This is the knowledge you can't get in colleges. If you read from the Bible, obey the commandment and know who your mother and father is. Tune in to sa.neter cause he the protector of the gods. I'm talking about Dr. Benjamin, Yusuf, Yacanan, and John. We got a scale of my art. If he light as a feather, let's go and weigh his heart. I am the shrine of Ptah. If you say I am, better recognize a god. All I see is pseudos and frauds. Kudos to my dogs. Shit judo for you frogs. I think it's time to hop off the environment. Oh, you didn't know? This environment tough. Oh, you didn't know? This environment tough. Oh, you didn't know? This environment tough. Oh, you didn't know? This environment tough.
Will survive, comedic knowledge on the rise, raising consciousness divine, to the truth we subscribe. Jabari leading the way, Shaka almost don't play, sa.neter to open the gates, and up and banging the day. It's a family for the culture, rebuking all you vultures, service environment full of soldiers, unlock your mind, they'll exposure, HOK is the squad, debating the truth is a nod, watch where you step in the pod, or the tear you apart.
Oh, you didn't know? This environment tough. 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 Oh, you didn't know?
It's LV Europa. Whatever you do, make sure you do it in the toughest environment.
Mac double.
That's the only way we grow. Yo, roll call for them tough niggas who act inspiring. You can't hit the stage with my vets if you don't meet requirements. Heard you did all that work from the fifth to the first when I birthed your retirement. You hanging it up and it's still not enough in the toughest environment. Toughest environment, niggas will spit till they vomiting. Toughest environment, niggas will bring the piranhas in. Toughest environment, better be talking to scholarship. Toughest environment. Who the toughest, who the strongest, who the smartest? Hitting the stage, PowerPoint, and I'm going through papers regardless. Listen up, got a point to prove, but I'm moving on, cause you niggas retarded. Toughest environment, only up make you a target. You don't want that smoke, shit your body last week, run down on the whole Christina class with the pie. Oh my God, sa.neter, I think you the GOAT, no rigmarole. Still take total control, just put my shit at the top of the pole. Put my shit at the top of the pole. For toughest environment. Listen, just get it, I'm still past a minute, I work every minute, and maybe I'm on with Chris and his thoughts, and I thought you should know that this ain't a scrimmage. And I'm shaping you right, molding you tight to be in the image of toughest environment. Yo, roll call for them tough niggas who act inspiring. You can't hit the stage with my vets if you don't meet requirements. Heard you did all that work from the fifth to the first when I birthed your retirement. You hanging it up and it's still not enough in the toughest environment. Toughest environment, niggas will spit till they vomiting. Toughest environment, niggas will bring the piranhas in. Toughest environment, better be talking to scholarship. Toughest environment. I'm sure we can work this out, just get in the ring. You better be Zion Alexa, this vessel, divine prospect when he doing this thing. Or Captain Tazari, out there, cross that line, I get away clean. Or Ali Muhammad, so valid, still got me up on my ding. All of it brought together because of the studio. Stop acting like y'all could've been doing that cause you didn't do it though. And I watched them lions get ran out of the den, this shit'll get crucial. Who you know will take the whole damn stage and turn that shit to a musical. Stay in your cubicle. The environment's tough, don't wire me up, I'm calling your bluff. I'm running it back and I'm running it back like it's never enough. Got them diamonds in the rough, and we can get to every treasure, but you gotta help me dig it up. But to me it's like whatever. Yo, roll call for them tough niggas who act inspiring. You can't hit the stage with my vets if you don't meet requirements. Heard you did all that work from the fifth to the first when I birthed your retirement. You hanging it up and it's still not enough in the toughest environment. Toughest environment, niggas will spit till they vomiting. Toughest environment, niggas will bring the piranhas in. Toughest environment, better be talking to scholarship. Toughest environment.
All right, let me start your timer. Just 2 minutes to start this opening. All right, I got your timer started. You got your presentation up, and we ready to start whenever you ready, Gorilla.
I'm looking good.
Yes, sir.
Hold on. How do I got y'all. How do I get rid of this? Y'all are like blocking my y'all are blocking like my view. Hold on.
Do you mean the chat, Gorilla Hebrew?
Yeah, like all like everybody cameras and everything.
Yeah, if you on the left
like that. Okay, bet I got it.
the top it say hide thumbnail.
Yeah.
Okay, smooth. Okay. Okay, I'm looking good now. Y'all can see
sir.
it?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
It's seeing the full screen or no, it's not. Okay. Hold on. All right, that's fine. All right, I'm ready.
All right. 2 minutes on the clock.
All right,
Let's
of course, again, I give all praise, honor, and glory to Abanawi Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai. First and foremost. So tonight we'll be talking about Deuteronomy 28 and the American Indians Israelite debate. I'll be focusing on Deuteronomy the 28th chapter and the curses that are found in there and how they cohesively work to emphatically prove that the people in general who we purport to be the Israelites, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American people, are in fact descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Not, of course, that they have a monopoly on it. Not that these curses are just one thing. These things are cyclic. They take place at different periods of time, multiple times, throughout the annals of time in history. But I will predominantly be focused on how it has affected Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people, especially the last half millennia or 500 years. The transatlantic slave trade will certainly be coming up. I know people oftentimes hear us harping about that in our teachings, but it's even bigger than that. That is definitely a major aspect of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, and understanding our identity as the Israelites. But it's even more than that, man. And the word of God is true, and every man is a liar. God pronounced a judgment on his people if we were disobedient, and we are the manifestation of the word of God by us being affected by these curses in our disobedience. So that's definitely going to be the main portion that I'm going to be hammering in for the first topic, Deuteronomy 28. Then for the American Indians Israelites debate, I will be focusing on the indigenous peoples of North, Central, and South America and the vast amount of insurmountable evidence substantiating that they are in fact descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Man, these are the people, again, indigenous to Canada, the U.S., Mexico, Central America, South America, all of it, etc. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'll be focused on today. I want y'all to enjoy the show, man. We got a lot of hard-hitting and impactful information, man. All praise you. How about Shemi Awashai?
Tom. All right. Gorilla Hebrew got it started. Big Chief TopCatz, 2 minute opening. Go ahead and put your screen down. Gorilla.
Now he can leave it up because he's gonna go right after. All right. Yeah, I know if he
Well, yeah, just respect. We're gonna give you respect of being the speaker. So let's get it. 2 minutes on the clock.
Okay. Man, peace, man. I'm the legendary Big Chief TopCatz, man. Hands down, the best to ever pick up the microphone. I feel like this is gonna be a very, very simple debate. I don't even see why we're standing here today. The Hebrew Israelites don't well enough. They ain't old enough, and they haven't brought anything of significance to the world. I mean, we can take a look at Israel, and then we can take a look at America. There's no comparison. Unless you're saying that America is the true Israel, then we have a different conversation. But if you're sitting here talking about you came here through Deuteronomy 28, off the top, and he's going first, he's going to have to show us himself, because he's in America right now. If he's coming from somewhere else, he's going to have to provide the evidence and show us tonight in this presentation how he got from wherever he's saying he's coming from to America. And he have to show himself in the story. We have to know that it's you. We're not generalizing. Okay? He came and put 10s on the 2 like he told me and told y'all before we got started that these curses applied not to just one, but that's not what he's teaching on the corner. You feel me? But he come in here and he understands the rules of engagement of this debate. He's not going to have to get to generalize. We're specifically talking about the transatlantic slave trade, Deuteronomy 28. We need to see you, sir, your ancestors getting off a boat in our land.
All right. Simple, easy, straight to the point. We appreciate that, TopCatz. So we can go ahead and get into our main portion of this debate, these 15-minute rounds. Gorilla Hebrew will be addressing the first topic, the first portion of this debate, the question of Deuteronomy 28. 15 minutes is on the clock.
Okay,
I'm ready
you can see
whenever.
you can see my presentation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all praise to the Most High. Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's get it.
All right, yeah, again, all praise Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. It's overwhelmingly apparent that TopCatz does not understand the rules of engagement of this debate. We very plainly agreed on a topic and a title. All of you guys saw the flyer get promoted. You guys purchased it. The name is there. It's not solely exclusively based around the transatlantic slave trade. It's not about me in particular either. I didn't come to debate you on whether or not my ancestors got off of any boat. That is nowhere in the topic of this debate. If that's the standard in which that you feel like would be satisfactory, too bad. You should have said that when we were doing negotiation for the debate, brother. The debate very plainly is Deuteronomy 28. That's what it say, Deuteronomy. So the debate is about Deuteronomy 28 in totality as a whole, every verse therein, not just one verse and not just one application of one verse, brother. I will be vastly discussing the entirety of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, starting from verse 15 all the way to the end, dealing with the curses and how the curses clearly identify who the Israelites are by who they affect. That's what the topic of the debate is, sir. Again, if you wanted it to be something else, you should have said that, because it's not on the flyer. The people didn't pay to see that, right? Anyway, we will definitely be talking about people getting off boats and all that, though. Don't worry about that. Also, it's funny. He says Israel has brought nothing to the world. Yet, what? A third of the world worships a religion based upon the ideology and the God of the Israelites. We brought nothing to the world. The foundation, the moral fabric of this planet Earth was brought to it by the Israelites, if no other thing was, right? The fact that Black people look down on the LGBT community, the fact that that's frowned upon is rooted in what? A Christian upbringing from the Bible. Like, let's just start there. Your thought, the way you think, has been influenced by the Bible in such an impactful way that you couldn't escape it if you wanted to. So the nerve of you to come out the side of your mouth and say, what is Israel giving to the world? Everything. Everything, right? I would love to see what the Kashada gave to the world, but that's not tonight's topic. I like to stay on topic. So Deuteronomy 28, all American Indians, Israelites, of course, we're going to be dealing with the first topic first. So it's Deuteronomy 28 in the 15th verse. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee all, not just one, not just the transatlantic slave trade, all. It's not my fault, brother, that you're one-dimensional and you have a narrow mind and you cannot comprehend the concept of the totality of one chapter that's simply 68 verses long, and you only want to talk about the 68th verse. That's not my fault, right? Let's keep going. Now, the definition of curse, according to the Oxford Dictionary, a solemn utterance intended to evoke a supernatural power to inflict harm or punishment on something or someone, right? So that's what we're talking about. Curses, right? A solemn utterance intended to evoke supernatural power to inflict harm or punishment, right? So now this is Deuteronomy 28. I'm skipping to verse 45 and 46. If you refuse to listen to the Lord your God, to obey the commands and decrees he has given you, all these curses will pursue you. So they're going to chase, whoever the Israelites are going to be chased by these curses and overtake you. They will be overcome by these curses until you are destroyed. The Israelites will be destroyed by these curses, right? As a sign and warning among you and among your descendants forever. So this is something that's going to perpetually follow the Israelites whenever they're in a state of disobedience. So the other night when we were on the way in, he asked, well, where does it say that this is a cyclic thing? It tells you forever. If you go off, these curses are going to follow you. They're going to overtake you and they're going to destroy you. And they're going to be a sign. What are they a sign of? I'm going to show you now. Right? Isaiah 43 and 10. Ye are my witnesses, saith the Lord Yahweh. Ye are my witnesses. We are the living proof of the validity and the reality of this Bible and the existence of the supreme being in which that we worship, whose name is in the Hebrew is Yahweh. We are his witnesses because he pronounced this word against us, and we manifest every single thing that he said would happen to us if we were disobedient. So we are living proof of God and the validity of the Bible as Black, Hispanic, and Native American people. That's what this is. That's what we're a sign of. We're assigning a witness that there is a God and this Bible is true, right? Let's keep going. I want to emphasize a crucial point to everybody listening tonight. This is not an abstract or selective interpretation of individual curses in Deuteronomy 28. Rather, it involves a rigorous analysis of the cumulative impact of a substantial set of these curses affecting any identifiable collective group throughout history. What I have done is streamline the extensive list of curses listed across 53 verses into a concise list. My goal, right? My goal is to comprehensively illustrate that all those we identify as Israelites have undergone the vast majority of these curses, not merely a single one, not just slave ships, the totality of it. Let's keep going. Right? So let's get one of the first curses that's listed there. Cursed in rural and urban environments. The Great Migration, sometimes known as the Great Northward Migration or the Black Migration, was the movement of 6 million African Americans out of the rural southern United States to the urban Northeast, Midwest, and West between 1910 and 1970. It was caused primarily by the poor economic conditions for African Americans, as well as the prevalent racial segregation and discrimination in the southern states where Jim Crow laws were upheld. And particularly, continued lynchings motivated a portion of the migrants. As African Americans searched for social reprieve, the historic change brought by the migration was amplified because the migrants, for the most part, moved to the then largest cities in the United States: New York City, Chicago, Detroit, LA, Philly, Cleveland, and DC, right? So what's interesting is the cause for the migration, as it says here, right, is discrimination, is a poor opportunity, and of course, being subjugated to Jim Crow laws and lynchings and violence, right? This is why our people left the country. Our people left the countryside or the field or the rural environments, right? Now, we went to New York City, was poor there, and was still getting beat and discriminated against there. Went to Chicago, same thing was happening there. Went to Detroit, same thing was happening there. Went to LA, same thing was happening there. Went to Philly, same thing was happening there. Went to Cleveland, same thing was happening there. You see how we were cursed in rural and urban environments? Went to DC, same thing was happening there, right? And it was no different for Latinos. A lot of Latinos came and migrated into the United States to get away from the third world countries that have been raped and robbed by the Spaniards. They tried to come and get a better opportunity. They came to Houston. The Mexicans came to H-Town. I got the H-Town hat. Our brother from H-Town, they came to H-Town. And in Moody Park, they was getting their ass whooped by the police there, right? Here in the Zoot Suit riots in LA, they was getting beat down by the cops and by the military there, right? In Chicago and Humboldt Park, it was happening to the Puerto Ricans there, right? Cursed in rural and urban environments, right? Or like how the Native Americans live on and off the reservation. See, this is the actual Native Americans, right? Here they are on the Lakota Sioux Reservation, totally destroyed in a rural environment. Then some of them leave the reservation, they come out to the city, and you know what happens when they come out to the city? This is what happens according to the Center of Disease Control. Native American people are killed in police encounters more than any other ethnic group. That's what it means to be cursed in rural and urban environments, or cursed in the field and cursed in the city, as it says in the King James Version, right? Another curse, cursed from the cradle to the grave and suffer many diseases, right? So from the youth, our people are coming up cursed all the way till we die, where it says you're cursed going in and cursed coming out, right? The percentage of children living in poverty was the highest for Black and American Indian / Alaska Native children, 34%, followed by Hispanic children at 28%. See, we're the highest in children being born into poverty, right? As you can see here, impoverished children, Black and Latino, right? Now look at this. Native Americans have the highest rates of fetal alcohol syndrome, kids born with a curse, born with a birth defect due to the decisions of their mother. Like our poor young sister right here, Native American sister who was born with fetal alcohol syndrome, right? Cursed from the cradle to the grave, right? Fast food restaurants such as McDonald's, Domino's, and Taco Bell spent over $1.5 billion on TV ads in 2019 to target Black and Hispanic kids. In 2019, Black youth view 75% more fast food ads than their white peers, while no healthy items were promoted on Spanish language television. Interesting. You know what happens when our kids consume all that fast food? Oh, obesity in children and adolescents is the most prevalent chronic disease, which affects a prominently 18.5% of U.S. children ages 2 to 17 years old. Accompanying the increased rate of obesity is the rising presence of multiple medical conditions, including hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and non-alcoholic liver disease. Because a child or adolescent with obesity is 70% more likely to struggle with their weight as an adult, cursed from the cradle to the grave. They was obese as children and they carry those health issues into their adulthood. It is imperative to diagnose and treat obesity in pediatric patients to prevent progression into adulthood. Obesity disproportionately affects racial minority groups, especially Hispanic and Black children and adolescents. Cursed from the cradle to the grave, right? As you can see here. In addition, the rate of severe obesity, characterized as a body mass index greater than the 99th percentile, is higher amongst Black and Hispanic children and adolescents, meaning the most obese children in this country are predominantly Black and Hispanic. But of course, we're targeted. This is a part of the curses from the cradle to the grave. Black and Hispanic children are more likely to die of many childhood cancers than their white counterparts, who would suffer many diseases and be cursed from the cradle to the grave. As you can see here, this poor sister, right? We be left dead in the streets like dogs. Mexico, Haiti, Chicago, same story. Black and brown people left to dead in the streets like dogs with nobody valuing our lives, right? Mental illness. A new study published in May 2018 issue of Preventative Medicine shows that African Americans and Latinos are significantly more likely to experience serious depression than whites. Dr. Eliseo J. Perez Stable, director of the National Institute of Minority Health and Health Disparities, was the senior author of the study, which also found that African Americans and Latinos were more likely to have higher levels of chronic stress and more unhealthy behaviors. So you see how every curse we going down the list, we have the stats present day to back that we are affected by those things, right? Studies show Indigenous people have disproportionately higher rates of mental health problems such as suicide, post-traumatic stress disorder, violence, and substance abuse disorder, right? Will not prosper, another curse. White households have nearly 8 times as much wealth as median Black households and 10 times as much as Latino households. Black and Latino families now have to earn 2 to 3 times as much as white families to catch up. The average Native American household has 8 cents of wealth for every dollar of wealth the average white American household. Native Americans have the highest national poverty rate at 25.4% compared with 8% for white Americans. Every curse fits. Black, Hispanic, Native, Indian. Here's all the stats. And all I'm giving you is educational institutions, government institutions. We're talking about people who do rigorous statistic collecting and data analysis, and they're putting this out to the public. That's all I'm doing, right? Taking a look at the curses of God and taking a look at the people we're saying are Israelites and seeing if they fit the description, right? Keep going. Oppressed and robbed with no one to deliver you. I don't even gotta break that down, going into any stats. Let's take a look at the last 500 years of all the things in which that have been stolen
2 minutes.
from Black. You say how many?
2.
Oh, 2. Okay. All the things that have been stolen from Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people. Let's just take a look at the island of Puerto Rico, called the Puerto Riches. Right? Why was it called the Puerto Riches? Because all the riches that the Spaniard conquistador found when he got there. He took it, robbed it, went back to Spain. Some of them were so greedy, they filled them ships so much that they sank in the Atlantic. Right? Wives who are either promiscuous or victims of sexual abuse. That's also an interesting curse because National Violence Against Women survey shows that Black, Hispanic, and American Indian women are at greater risk for rape victimization than white women. Right? Also, though, not just sexual victimization, but promiscuity is also a curse that would affect, because we have the curse of another man knowing your wife. Right? And if we take a look at the sister sexy red here, a lost sister, but she has now personified the spirit that a lot of our sisters are in, a spirit of promiscuity, a spirit of classlessness, and things of that nature. And this is a spirit that has been overtaking a lot of our sisters for a long time. So when I analyze the curses and I see what they're saying and I take a look at what my people are going through, some of them are just simply victims of sexual abuse, molestation, rape, things of that nature. And some are just purposely out there and promiscuous, but clearly I see it disproportionately amongst our people in comparison to other people, which that coupled with all these other curses that we're going through and demonstrated can lead me to no other conclusion than we are the witnesses of God. We are the Israelites. With that, I'll close out. We'll come back the next round. All praise you. How about Shemi Awashai?
All right, Tom. Brother Gorilla Hebrew getting it in. Now, for those who ain't recognized, remember, there's two parts to this debate. The first part is addressing the question of Deuteronomy 28. Gorilla Hebrew was laying down a connection to American Indians, Black people, being connected to these curses. Big Chief TopCatz.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now you get a 3 minute rebuttal before you go into your presentation. So you get 3 minutes to address his first round, and then you got your 15 minutes to get into.
I'm gonna be honest, man, I thought we came here to do scholarly debate. Man, do you know how long I stayed up? You know how many nights I've been staying up studying, bro? And he just came to put a quick feel sorry for me story together. He just showed I don't know if he's going for the humanitarian award. I don't know what he's going for, a Nobel Peace Prize. This brother has put up screenshots of Mexicans and everybody in the world getting beat by cops. We ain't see no pictures of Israel up there. If the Israelites are going through it, well, we know that it's a war going on in Israel right now. I'm trying to see why he ain't put his people up there. He just came in here and asked y'all to feel sorry for him. We supposed to be talking about Deuteronomy 28. Saturday, he gonna be on the corner telling people, standing in front of a sign, talking about you are of these 12 tribes of Israel. He's not gonna come out there and do none of this talking he been doing. He wants y'all to feel sorry for him. And I really thought that goes with a political debate. You need to fight Domo on that topic or something. You know, Domo is the political guy, you know. But when it comes to the information in the bars, that's my game. That's what I thought we came here to do. And the brother came here with a feel sorry novel. As if, and he used the Bible to do it, as if the Bible is not what conquered or colonized the people in the first place. Brother, the Bible tells you to honor thy slave master. I know you're not going to come here and ask us to feel sorry for somebody in the Bible that asked you, and they gave you the Bible as a tool of colonization. The brother, that man, we've been having that Bible since what, 1611, the one that he carried, the Freemason Bible? The Freemason Bible that he carried, the King James that created Jamestown, Virginia, 1619, the slave trade is named after us. And he gonna come in here and ask us to feel sorry for him. The nerve of these Hebrew Israelites. Tonight, we finna show that these niggas are, you don't supposed to be feeling sorry for them. You see they still got that book in his hand. How do you identify the colonizer today the same way you identified them back then? If everybody in the world know we was colonized through religion and education, if these niggas still trying to bring you education through the form of religion, then you already know what's going on. This brother goes out every weekend, standing on the standing on the corner, and he's been doing it for a long time. He's a modern day missionary.
30 seconds.
He's a modern day missionary, and he's asking us to feel sorry for him when we know we've been, our lives have been interfered with, disrupted because of this Bible. And this brother in 2023, I can't believe it, still pushing the Bible on us. I land.
All right. You want to get your presentation up? While he get that ready, remember, once we get done with this, y'all make sure y'all pull up to the after party. All right, we got a video up right now. Let me know when you're ready to start that.
I'm ready when you're ready, Domo. You ready?
Yes, sir. Let's get it, Big Chief.
Up, man. Let's rock out. First off, I want to come break the news to y'all. I thought I came here. They told me that Guerrilla Hebrew was one of the top Hebrew Israelites out here. But they didn't tell me that the brother is an internet Israelite. Why do you say that, TopCatz? Well, I ain't the one who said it. Let's listen to this brother on how he came into the truth. See, I'm an Indian, homie, because I'm an Indian by blood. Yeah, I came here to represent my bloodline. This brother came here to represent something he found on the internet. Let's walk.
Boom, I hop on World Star one day. This is in 2008, 2000.
He hops on World Star Hip Hop. Okay. So I guess he used to be an ex-rapper or something, you know.
Boom, I hop on World Star one day. This is in 2008. Hop on World Star, and I see a video. In the video, I got a sign, boom, white Jesus with the devil horns on it. This is not Jesus. Jesus is a Negro. Boy, I click on it, boom. And then I just get the crash course. The Hebrew Israelite class, they're going through the Bible, look, boom, showing you how to prove Jesus is black and all that. I'm like, oh yeah, sign me up. Like, this me. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's not you, bro. Where your mother and father is. You can only be who your mother and father are. This brother is not following the laws of the Bible. See, that's why I like the Bible. I can respect it when it's taught in the form of Genesis 10 when they teaching genealogy. Matthew 1, these are the genealogies of people. I can respect that. Why is the Bible going by genealogy, but this brother is going by World Star Hip Hop?
Yeah. This is where I'm going now. Of course, we was, you know, my father's side is Haitian, my mother's side is Irish, so we was hella Catholic, like we was in the Catholic church. Yeah. So I always had this like zeal for God type deal.
All right, so the brother is a goddamn Catholic. This nigga is into Catholicism. This nigga didn't worship the Pope. No, this brother is a Catholic. This is not a Hebrew. Oh, hold on. Let me get to my presentation. Yeah, man, I'm not even fighting a Hebrew. I'm out here fighting a Catholic. Oh, yeah, the brother had dreams and inspiration of being a cardinal priest. Hold on, man. Let me get my hold on, stop my time. All right, I'm ready.
All right, let's go.
So we are Proverbs 3 and 5, 3 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. And always acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. So God in the Bible tell you not to lean to your own understanding. Deuteronomy 4 and 2, ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish you or from, that thee may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. So right here, the Bible tells you not to add or take away from it. These brothers have been adding and adding, and we here to tell the story today. Why are we here? We're here because of Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 and 15. Well, we go to Deuteronomy 1 and 3. You get the curse if you do not hearken unto my voice of thy Lord God, then all of these good things should be upon you. We get to 15 and say, but it shall come to pass if you not hearken unto the voice, Lord of the God, and observe to do all these commandments and statutes I command you, that all these curses shall be put upon thee. And they taught us that these curses that in 28 and 64, and the Lord shall scatter thee among, and ain't this what he just said? Everybody scattered. They should scatter thee among the people from one end of the earth unto the other, and thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. All right, Deuteronomy 28, 68. They favorite one, the one that connects them to the transatlantic slave trade, but the brothers show up today without no transatlantic slave trade slides. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt in ships, by way of I spake, thee shall see it no more, and these shall be sold unto enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. Now, they always told us bondmen and bondwomen meant slaves, and then they take it to Exodus 22, and they tell you that Egypt, I am the Lord God, which brought you out of the land, Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So this is their stripes on getting you to come into the play. What we gonna figure out is a play. So now this gets them into now this what ties them to the transatlantic slave trade. Now they say the slave trade started in like 1526 to 1867, 1526, huh? Well, right here, we go to National Library of Congress, and we find the map of Palestine and the Holy Land, which was published in 1480. And this is talking about the law. These are the tribes of Israel, right? They say they right at home in Palestine, where they over there fighting for. Well, he ain't put a picture up for them folks. All right, 1480. So I'm trying to figure out how you in Africa and in Israel at the same time, unless we're not talking about the same person. So where does the narrative come from? Well, it comes from the siege of Jerusalem, from a guy by the name of Flavius Josephus. Okay, he's a white boy, right? To tell all this black rich history of us getting beat by white folks, then why do we got to go to the white boy? Because when we come right here, he is considered a vital source of Jewish history. All right. especially the Second Temple, where they getting their story of coming out of Africa. So we come here, and this the Hebrew Israelites of today. They say the president of Hebrews is found traced back to the siege of Jerusalem, 66, 70 AD. And they going by Winsworth, and he said 1 million Hebrews fled into Africa. Well, when we go to the primary source, guess what happened? Josephus wrote in the late 1st century that the lost tribes of Israel were established in great numbers in Eastern Europe. So the Hebrews today telling us they was in Africa, but the primary source is telling us that they was in Europe. Now, right here, the Kingdom of Judah. They said they found a map in 2012, and it blew everybody away, right? 1747 map, the Kingdom of Judah. Now, the presidents, the brother, whoever came up with this idea or wrote this passage was a diehard Israelite. He even said he had proof. He said the evidence that Judah was inhabited by the descendants of Jacob, and they were deported during the transatlantic slave trade can be found in the written testimony of Oleana Equiana. I said, Lord have mercy. Hebrew got to stay in your lane because you tip over there and my lane ain't gonna get you. Now they say Oleana, Hebrew is evident of his name. You can tell by his name. Well, we're gonna go to Oleana Equiana, the African by Vincent Coretta. And on page 2, chapter 1, we come down here. Reader surprised to learn that Gustavus Vassa was actually Oleana Equiana, the African. And it would be interesting to know that his baptism records in February 1759 and his naval record, 1773, say the nigga was born in South Carolina. So somebody see, that's why you Israelites, y'all be hopping in people's lane and y'all don't know them got you moments. Got you. So we come over here, since the Roman times of destruction, the Sephardic Jews say they arrived in the Iberian Peninsula and after the destruction of the temple in 70 CE. And that sounds like what Josephus is saying. So we get here to Negro land. This map this brother was talking about by Emmanuel born 1747. Notice right here, it says a new accurate map of Negro land. Okay, up again, he's showing principal European settlements. Distinguished belong to England, Denmark, Holland. They ain't say nothing about it belong to the Israelites. So why is the Israelites claiming it so much? Well, let's find out. And we know that this map was fake. How do we know? Because at that time, they didn't have a correct map on Africa. So I'll take you to the value of getting the trade and the English connection with it. All right, so the map of West Africa engraved in the new correct map, 76, was revived. Okay, Post disguised his ignorance in the interior by placing a separate map on the Gold Coast. One larger map, a dot representing Ashanti, Dahomey. Sierra Leone took the place of Portuguese Guinea, wider. The map was all over the place. Post did not even attempt to show the Congo existed. Okay, so at that time, the maps in Africa was fake. Here go these fake maps, right, that they're talking about. Now, they didn't have knowledge of Africa, right? So they had a committee, and that committee is that they lacked the interior knowledge of Africa. So John Bourne's gone to Senegal, 1763-66, say he didn't have any knowledge of it. You also had Governor Richard Miles. Richard Miles told the committee that he'd never been 5 miles away from the coast. Okay, their lack of contact with the hinterlands, traded posts, and perhaps astonishing ignorance of writers about the African trade at home. Niggas sitting at home, armchair scholarship, ain't been out there. These folks don't know nothing about it. That's why if you know something about this, you know, in June the 9th, 1788, the beginning of the age of African exploration began. This is the African Association, which is to explore the interior parts of Africa. That map is fake. Why does that sound familiar? Because we had the what is called the African Association, which was formed in 1897, that became the first Pan-African Congress. Okay, we will get to that. Jah is our God. Evidence of Judah came with the map engraved in Emmanuel Bowen, and we just killed that. This is what Black Hebrew Israelites around here saying. So where did Negro land? Negro meaning black used by the Spanish and the Portuguese. Well, when we go to the Zondervan Bible, Ham became the progenitor of dark races, not the Negroes, right? So the Hebrews been saying that they were Negro. When we go to Israel, the first chief rabbi is Yehuda, Yasser ben Yehuda, and he was senior of a leader of those Negroes, okay? All right, now he was under Alfonso I. He gave them land there, which became Lord of Bolidos dos Negros, or land of the blacks. Okay, and it's still there today in Portugal. That'll take us to the age of exploration, right? The Spanish, the participation of the Jews in the discovery. The Jews of who? In Portugal. So that take us to Henry the Navigator, Alfonso, King João. All right, and that'll bring us into the dumb diversity. That's the papal bull that gave the Portuguese the right to go into West Africa. Alfonso will get it from Alfonso IV to get it. When we look for Jews in Africa at that time, we don't see no Jews in Africa. We see them in North Africa, yes, South Africa in some pockets. But far as West Africa, we don't know what you're talking about. When we see the Jews get over there to West Africa, it's actually coming from these Deuteronomy curses 28, the slave trade. Well, actually, the Portuguese Jews went through a slave trade before we did. You had what was called the Alhambra Decree. A lot of wealthy Jews fled into Portugal. Okay, but some wasn't so successful. So King John expelled Jews. Portuguese settlements in the continent of Africa. They banished Jews to Black Portugal, and they were called the Jews, the Blanco, and the Fly, even by their Negroes. All right, when we come here, the Portuguese in West Africa, the period witnessed the diaspora supporting Jews, Black diaspora associated with the slave trade. Documents also describe the evolution of Black Portuguese communities in Guinea Island, as well as the slave trade that it was organized and understood. Now, this is King João. João was a knight to Prince Henry the Navigator. Okay, he was a Jew. He had a daughter named Isabel Zarco. She ended up having a baby by Alfonso IV, the king, brother, Ferdinand II Duke of Baeza, Fernando. Right here, this is a 7-foot statue standing facing it in Cuba, Baeza. And this is of who? Columbus. Portuguese claims Columbus. All right, why? Because Christopher Columbus, you see his birthday right here, born August 26th. He died in Spain. Well, we go right here to Salvador Fernandez Zarco, and he have the same birthday, except he's born in Cuba, Baeza, and he died in the same place on the same day. This is our guy. Okay, he's a Moreno, which were the Black Jews there. He got the papal bull, the Intercatera, to take you into the Americas. Okay, now he would now this one we'll get Portuguese these families.
2 minutes.
King John would allow Portuguese 630 wealthy Jewish families and some other people, they would send children out there, thousands of children out there to help build up this colony out there. They had a system where they were, the Jewish merchants was having sex and kids by the African women, and they created a race there. All right, and the settlements of the Jews are still there today. This brother did not speak of Deuteronomy 28. They do not fit those curses because we see the real Jews, people that cannot actually be identified as Jews, named Jews and described in history, this African Jewish story we do not see. Okay, and when we come back in the next round, I'm going to break it all the way down why we can't find it. Okay, and why Guerrilla Hebrew came here to preach and talk about humanitarian issues when the brother should have been came and preaching to us about what he preached about on the street every Saturday, talking about you are the 12 tribes of Israel, and Deuteronomy 28 brought you here through a slave trade. When he get here in the debate and it get real, the brother changed his whole temperature. Now he's a Christian monk and he's a humanitarian going for a global world peace, Nobel Peace Prize. You did? Yeah. So now you're not gonna be able to preach your way, ain't nobody gonna feel sorry for you. You should have studied and brought some bars. I land my round. Mic check, mic check.
Look, I'm on mute the whole
Okay,
time.
okay,
Guerrilla,
okay.
yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah. Guerrilla Hebrew,
Yes, sir.
3 minutes on the clock.
1 second. All right, I'm good. Excuse me.
All right. Appreciate it. All right, and let's go. Let's get it.
Again, all praise Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Just as I thought, this brother has done absolutely nothing to respond to what I'm presenting. He filibustered. He had very feeble attempts at making jokes. None of what he presented addressed anything of what I presented, right? Your presentation would have been good if I would have made claims about Negro land, if I would have utilized Babylon to Timbuktu as a source. I challenge you to go find me doing any of those things in any of my teachings. I'm very well watched and viewed online. People are very well familiar with what I say and what I'm saying in this debate, how I've taken Deuteronomy 28, turned it into a list, and demonstrate how all the curses are affecting Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people is precisely what I do on the streets. I'm just doing it in a way now where I could actually present it with the picture in front of everybody to see. So I'm all I'm talking about is Deuteronomy 28. But it's funny, you said it's about your parents and blood. So I challenge you. Maybe you can do this. I don't know. Show me a blood test that says you're an American Indian. Because this is my dad, and this is me and him's blood test. And if I go here, you see, it says he's 1% Indigenous American, North American. Right? Can you produce that? Because you said it's about blood and it's about your parents. So I just showed a blood test with my parents that I'm a Native American. Can you do that? That's my question, because I didn't say it was based off of some type of blood or your blood test or anything like that, right? But when you make those type of claims, brother, right? You're gonna have to now show and prove that. Now he said there's no Jews in West Africa. Okay, cool. So here's more of my DNA test, right? And the oldest DNA I have there, it says Sudanese, which is very interesting. Sudanese, right? I wonder how can that be? Because of course the slave trade came from West Africa, not from East Africa. But then I read about that how the Akan migrated from the north. They went through Egypt, settled in Nubia, right, Sudan, around 500 AD due to pressure exerted in Nubia by the Aksumite kingdom of Ethiopia. Nubia was shattered and the Akan people moved west and established small trading kingdoms. These kingdoms grew around 750 AD and the empire of Ghana was formed. So the Akan people left out of Sudan and went across Africa to Ghana, but first they came from the north of Egypt. What's north of Egypt? Israel. So there's a direct connection from Israel to Sudan all the way to Ghana across the transatlantic slave trade pursuant to my DNA test, right? Now, even in Judah, you had a city called Ashan.
30 seconds.
You had a city called Ashan, just like you have the Ashanti people who were of the Akan tribe, right? And then you have Igbo became one of the principal ethnic groups to be enslaved during the transatlantic slave trade. And foundational narratives taken from Igbo oral traditions say that some Jews left Judah in the periods of the destruction of the first and second temples and migrated to Nigeria. So there's two different references to Jews in West Africa, sir. I'll yield that and start my next round.
All right, that's time. No, that's time. So that's the first half. We at halftime. That's the first half of the debate.
No, we got one more round. We got one more round.
Yeah, we got
y'all
got
two rounds.
Y'all got we got one more round in this.
Yeah, we got one more round of this, and then we go to the next one.
Then we got halftime. Yeah, this Colorado.
That's the first quarter. This is the first quarter. That'll be in the second quarter.
Night. Yeah, this Colorado and Stanford last night. This is gonna be a late night.
Remember, it's four 15-minute rounds. 4 15-minute rounds, right?
2 and 2. Yeah, we only did one each.
1 and 1.
Okay. All right. Let's get it. Let's get it. Because when we switched it up and put them rounds in the middle.
No, we switch next for the next topic.
I go first.
All right, let's get it.
All right. Yeah, so all praise y'all. All praise y'all about Shemi Al-Shai again. So foundational narratives taken from Igbo oral traditions say that some Jews left Judah in the periods of the destruction of the first and second temples and migrated to Nigeria. There's the source there. So what's funny is this brother, his paradigm is largely based upon, of course, oral tradition passed down from families. And there's nothing wrong with that. We don't knock that at all. But the oral tradition of the Igbo and the oral tradition of the Akan and the Ashanti say that they came from Israel. Right. So you just said there's no Jews in West Africa. We just debunked that. I got more. Right. The Tariq al-Fasada, manuscript C of the Tariq al-Fasada describes a community called the Benai Israel that existed in 1402 CE in Tendrima, right, in West Africa, possessed 333 whales and had 7 leaders. It is also stated that they had an army of 1,500 men. Right. The Tariq al-Sudan. The Tariq al-Sudan may have recorded the first Jewish presence in West Africa, which coincided with the arrival of the first Zuwa ruler of Kokia and his brother, who settled near the Niger River. He was only known as Za or Zuwa al-Yaman, which means he that comes from Yemen. Some local legends state that Zuwa al-Yaman was a member of one of the Jewish communities which were either transported or voluntarily moved from Yemen by the Ethiopians, like we just read about with the Akan. right? In the 6th century CE, the Zhou dynasty is where the Songhai people come from. So the Songhai people, oral tradition, and contemporary people that interacted with them attested to them having an Israelite origin. So now that is a third group of West Africans who are Jews, right? Moving on. In the 11th century, al-Bukhari and il-Idrisi, the great Arab historian and geographers, referred to the presence of populations who read the Torah in what would become Mali. So now we have people who are observing and reading the Torah in the area of Mali, right? So what is that? 4? Mali, the Songhai, the Igbo, and the Akan. We have 4 different West African groups who either, according to their oral traditions or contemporary people who interacted with them, attest to them having an Israelite origin, sir. Right? Moving on. Now, another curse in Deuteronomy 28 chapter is someone else would benefit more from your labor than you. And I think there is no manifestation or personification of that fact better than this picture. This picture has always been ingrained into my subconscious. The fact that Chief Keef would let this white Jewish man hold him by the dread like that, right? It is truly just dehumanizing. It's disgusting. But here's the thing about it. Record labels can keep a cut of anywhere from 50 to 90% of your earnings. That's a part of them curses. Our people are the ones that are up in those places, that are making that music, that are entertaining the world. And you have people at the top, right, who not only stole our identity and nationality, but people at the top that also are stealing all our hard-earned money from our work and our talents, our God-given gifts, etc. But that is a part of the curses, right? Children given to other people. We know this clearly happened in slavery. Children were ripped from the arms of their mothers and sold on auction blocks to other plantations and other people. This also happened to something called the Native American boarding schools, right? American Indian boarding schools, also known more recently as American Indian residential schools, were established in the United States from the mid-17th to the early 20th century with the primary objective of civilizing or assimilating Native American children and youth into European American culture. The schools were usually harsh, especially for younger children who had been forcibly separated from their families, right? Your children are going to be taken from you, ain't going to be able to do nothing about it. Just like in slavery, they were forcibly separated from their families and forced to abandon their Native American identities and cultures. Children sometimes died in the school system due to infectious disease, and there's been all kind of reports on how they've gone back to these schools after they've been shut down for decades or a century, and there's hundreds of Native American babies dead there, right? And then even more recently, we can take a look at the Mexican and Central American children that they was putting down in them cages out there in Texas, right? Bad knees. This is another curse of Deuteronomy 28 chapter, that we'd have bad knees. Studies have found that a higher proportion of African-American patients experience knee pain with higher severity compared to the general population. Right? And these things are important because, again, how God said you would be able to identify the sign of the Israelites would be if they were affected by this cumulative collection of negative things. These negative things would happen. It's not about anybody feeling sorry. It's about identifying who, in fact, the Israelites are by the parameters in which God said you can identify them. And that's through, if they're in disobedience, negative things happening to them, them being in a negative state overall. And that's what we are demonstrating. I'm sorry if there are brothers out there, possibly my opponent, who has a comprehension issue as far as that goes, right? Let's keep going. You and your king will go into captivity. That's important, right? Here's a picture of King Tacky, right? So for those of y'all who don't know, Tacky's War, Tacky's Revolt, or Tacky's Rebellion was a widespread fight for their freedom by enslaved people, referred to as a slave rebellion by the enslavers, in the British colony of Jamaica in the 1760s. Led by Akan people, then referred to as Coromantee, but originally from around the Cromant Sea in the central region of Ghana, tribes including Ashanti, Fanti, Nzima, and Akim. It was loosely led by a Fanti royal and warlord called Tacky, or King Tacky. He was the king that went into slavery with his people in eastern Jamaica, and a Dahomian war chief on the coastal headman, a Pongo, in the western end of the island. So that was an example of the people and their king going into captivity. It's another example here. We have Montezuma. Right, and Montezuma taken captive. Cortez himself admitted that he imprisoned Montezuma, right, or brought him captive, primarily to avoid losing control over Mexico, understanding that nearly all of his forces were within his domains. So we see here how Black and Hispanic people and their kings were taken captive by Europeans, right, during the time of the conquest and the transatlantic slave. There's the transatlantic slave trade for you. That's what you've been looking for, right? Even though I'm not one-dimensional, we definitely gonna talk about it, and there was a clear reference to it, right? Let's keep going. All people will ridicule and mock the Israelites. You know, just like people for so long thought that this was acceptable, doing blackface. Up until just last year, this was an emblem of a Major League Baseball team, right? And also on the Wikipedia article about ethnic slurs, there are nearly a total of 100 combined slurs just for Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians. That's a part of everybody mocking and ridiculing us, right? There's another curse that foreigners will come into your community and quickly outperform you socioeconomically. You know, kind of like how, you know, Abu can open up a 7-Eleven and put his kid through college, and the kid could be a PhD scholar or a top surgeon because you keep going in there buying Newports and blunt wraps. Or like how you want to keep going to getting your rat tail brushes, your gel, your edge control, and your bundles from the Korean store so Lee can go ahead and make his kid a doctor. That's how foreigners come into your community and surpass you quickly socioeconomically, right? Keep going. People who would come from a different part of the world who don't speak your language and conquer you, right? So that's a part of the conquest in the transatlantic slave trade. We see what happened to the indigenous peoples of the Americas, people who spoke Spanish, people who spoke English, people who spoke Dutch, French, Portuguese, came from the other side of the world and conquered. That identifies the Israelites, right? Also, of course, during slavery, they came into West Africa, did the same thing, brought slaves over here, right? Men would have evil eyes towards one another. That's another curse. That's important. Like, you know, the Crips and the Bloods. On the Mexican side, the Norteños and the Sureños. And these are some graffiti from my home state of Washington, where you got Native Americans on reservations banging Crip and Blood and killing each other on the same reservation, right? That's an evil eye toward. These are the same Native American tribe on the same reservation, right? In my hometown, you got Native Americans on 32nd Street, that's Bloods, and on 40th Street, and it's within the reservation, there's Crips killing each other 8 blocks away from the same tribe. That's a part of the curses of the Most High God, right? Another curse will be relationships will be dysfunctional. Damn near half of YouTube is all about a gender divide and a gender war between Black men and women, right? Between who's going to submit, who's going to go 50-50, right? Who's going to go viral, who's going to try to be the next Kevin Samuels, all those various things. Well, that's a part of the curses of the Most High God in Deuteronomy 28, that we would have dysfunctional relationships. Right? Also, another curse is that men would leave their children, right? From 2017 to 2021, the share of families headed by single parents was 76% among African-American families and 59% amongst Hispanic families. That's more than half of Black and Hispanic households, according to the United States Census Bureau. That is quite a staggering statistic. And it, again, like all these other things that's being brought up, are in direct accordance to the negative things that God said would happen if his people were disobedient, right? Mothers will have evil eyes towards their children. And the reason why I chose this picture, our beautiful, beloved sister Monique deserved and earned that Oscar when she portrayed this role. Because what she manifested in that role was the unfortunate disposition of so many realities that our people have to deal with in their house. A mother that is totally upset, that totally resents their children, and that has totally developed a callous nature towards the children that came out from between their feet, as it's worded in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Again, substantiating another curse that clearly identifies us as the Israelites. Right? These curses will affect the Israelites for a long time. So the transatlantic slave trade started a long time ago, right? But these curses didn't just stop there when you got off a boat or when the Emancipation Proclamation was given. These curses, it says, would be long lasting. They'll affect us for a long time. That's why we're still affected by them.
5 minutes.
We're still affected by them to this day, right? 500 years does seem like a long time, don't it? Right? Another one where the Israelites will become minorities. Like it says in the scriptures, it said we will be left small in number, right? That's what a minority is, but we're especially socioeconomic minorities, right? Also, we'd be forced to serve our oppressors' gods, right? 79% of African-American are Christian and 70% of Latinos. And Christianity is only loosely based on the Bible. It's a religion that's really based around worshiping this white boy that looks nothing like the ancient depiction or the biblical description of the actual man, Jesus Christ, whose real name is Yahushua, right? Now, let's go to Deuteronomy 28:68, what he wanted to get to. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto you, thou shalt see it no more again. And there you should be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Now, first and foremost, when we look at the etymological definition of that word Egypt, it goes back in the Hebrew to Strong's H6696. And it means to bind, besiege, confine, cramp, to show hostility to be an adversary, or to treat as a foe. Right? In Exodus 20:2, which he quoted, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So the concept that the Israelites had was that Egypt was synonymous with bondage. The word means literally to bind or to be besieged, confined, or cramped. Right? Additionally, Egypt is called the house of bondage in the following verses as well. As you can see, Exodus 13:3, Exodus 13:14, and then all the way down there to Judges 6:8, right? And this brings me to Bill Parcells. What does Bill Parcells have to do with this? Well, years ago, he was doing as a coach of the Cowboys, he was doing a press conference, and he got in a lot of trouble for calling surprise plays Jap plays. Well, why would he call surprise plays Jap plays? Of course, because of his age. When he was younger, the Japanese did something called Pearl Harbor, right? That was a surprise play. So when he was talking about what his DBs were going to do in surprising the offense, he called it Jap plays. Now, were his DBs Japanese? No, they were black, right? But he still called them Japs. Why? Because he related the way that they were going to surprise the offense with the way that the Japanese surprised the United States when they bombed Pearl Harbor. So that was a cultural expression relevant to him at that time. The same way Egypt being synonymous with bondage or to be bound or in a bad time is the cultural expression and the right of the Israelites to express themselves. The same way, like today, if somebody wants to get bullied or punked out because of how great in the classic movie Friday was, we say they got deboed. Egypt was the same type of expression for the Israelites. So it had nothing to do with the physical land of Egypt. The same way you're not Tiny Zeus Lister if you punk somebody. And the same way them DBs that were playing for the Cowboys, they Japanese. Right? Moving on. Because it says no man shall buy thee. This is the law in which is the precedent to no man will buy thee. It doesn't mean you won't get bought. You got sold. You got sold. You got bought. It's not about being purchased. It's about being redeemed. If thy brother be, this Leviticus 25:25. If thy brother be waxing poor and have sold away some of his possession, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then he shall redeem that which his brother sold. You can redeem. If your brother sells himself, he could be redeemed. If he sells his possessions, it could be redeemed. You could come buy them back. So that's what it means. Nobody was going to come, and that's why it says this here, right? Isaiah 52:3, for thus saith the Lord, ye have sold yourselves for naught, and ye shall be redeemed without money. Right? Money ain't going to buy us out of our condition. It's going to be the Lord. He's going to redeem us, right? And how do we sell ourselves? We didn't auction ourselves off. How we sold ourselves, it says here, Isaiah 50:1, behold, for your iniquities have ye sold yourselves. Basically, because we sin, he already warned us that if we sin, this would happen to us. Because we sin, we basically, or in essence, sold ourselves, not literally, right? So essentially, any place the Israelites are bound, attacked, confined to, cramped in, or being targeted, or being treated hostile rather in, is Egypt being referred to in Deuteronomy 28:68, right? And to prove this, of course, you have the Clotilda ship, which was found and recovered and carried slaves from Africa directly into Mobile, Alabama. It was verified in 2019 by the Alabama Historical Commission that the Clotilda ship was a slave ship that carried slaves from Africa into
30 seconds.
Into Mobile, Alabama, and the descendants of that slave ship founded something called Africatown in Mobile, Alabama. We also have a slave ship here that was found off the coast of Cuba that carried Mayan slaves. So this is just showing how Deuteronomy 28 was filled by both Black and Indigenous people. With that, again, I give all praise to the Most High and rest my time.
All right, there we go. Getting into that first information. Big Chief TopCatz.
Man, I'm glad you called me, man. I was about to fall asleep, man. I'm glad you woke me up, man. Shaw text me and said, man, wake up, TopCatz. You unpreviews. I already late, goddamn, nigga. I say this. First off, I start with the Clotilda. Brother, Africatown, Mobile, Alabama. This story comes from a white lady named Emma Rhodes. Okay? Now, and professor at Columbia, Professor Franz Boas sent one of his students out named what's mama name? He sent one of his students out, right? And she ended up writing a book called The Barracoon. The Barracoon comes out to 80 years later. Why? Because it was plagiarized from a lady named Emma Roach. Zora Neale Hurston is the lady's name. So, man, that's why I say the Israelites need to stay in their lane, because when you tiptoe over here, yeah, man, the men here, man, we looking for it. Nah, man, you can't come into America with that. Mobile, Alabama, if you're going to teach an indigenous story, the way you get Indians on is you have to add us in the story, brother. You cannot write over our story. But then again, we are talking to the colonizer himself. The Hebrews are the colonizers. Okay, we just showed you what they did. They run around here with the King James Bible. That's the first indicator that we got a colonizer on our hand. They do missionary work. Oh, man, how you think the colonizer came and got you? Through missionary work. All these programs was missionary. All right? This brother's a modern day missionaries. All right? I don't know what he was talking about. He came out with a couple slave slides at the end and thought that was going to get him by. I'm finna work him this second round. I played with him with the first. I just threw the jab out there. Now we finna see what he's talking about. I'm laced up. I'm ready to rock though, Mo, man. What about you?
Let's get it. Let's get it. We'll go ahead and stop the rebuttal right there. You got 15 minutes on the clock. I'm ready when you are. Go ahead and get your presentation up.
All right, let's rock.
Let's
if
go.
the chart is just for America, how can you disqualify Jews when you don't know the history of every family who could have had some Israelite descent?
So we're going through Deuteronomy 28. And if you ever looked at the chart, you would notice that they are all of the chart only identifies with places and people in the Americas. Okay, very, very important. We understand it. All right, let's walk. What we got right here? Well, right here we have the Old Testament geography maps, early works of the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is in Palestine, 1696. These brothers supposed to be on a boat somewhere, headed out to America. Well, how about 1760, TopCatz? Because that's the height of the slave trade, right? We have a map of the land of Canaan and the Holy Land divided amongst the 12 tribes and of Abraham's seed, and everyone's at home. When the slave trade is going on, everyone's at home. But then we come here. All of the 12 tribes at this time, they say they're out the country. Yeah, they say they're out of the country at this time. Let's walk.
America, how can you disqualify? If the chart is just for America, how can you disqualify Jews when you don't know the history of every family who could have had some Israelite descent?
Now that's a great question. Now let's hear our brother's answer to that, right? Because he's gonna tiptoe around that answer like he's been tiptoeing around this debate. I'm sorry to tell you, brother, you're down one. You're really down two, and not just begun.
I want to make this clear. We're not speaking in absolutes. Okay,
so why am I at this debate? Why did I study? Why did this brother agree on this topic if when we come down to this here, we not speaking about absolutes?
That needs to be understood. So the particulars of who we understand the 12 tribes to be is not expressed in the chart itself. It's expressed through the conversation when people come and ask about the chart pursuant to Ezekiel, the 37th chapter.
Yeah, well, nigga, I ain't asked about it. And I'm trying to figure out how I end up in these curses and these crimes that has been committed to humanity. Because I know I damn sure ain't walked up and asked no nigga about no pictures on no buoy. Let's walk.
People don't know their identity.
He said he imagined the people out there don't know their identity. So guess what? The Hebrew Israelite missionary colonizer are about to give you one. Let's watch this.
The nation of Israel. You're falling off. Right. The tribe of Judah is the so-called Negroes. The tribe of Benjamin is the so-called descendant. The tribe of Levi are the so-called Haitians. The tribe of descendants are the so-called Dominican. The tribe of Zebulun includes from Guatemala to Panama. All those people that are of Negro and Indian descent in both countries. The tribe of Ephraim So
Now y'all see he didn't make this up on his own. He told you he got it out World Star Hip Hop. So don't laugh. Or this they elders out there teaching that talk.
the tribe of Manasseh is the so-called Cubans. And the tribe of Gad is the so-called North American Indians. The tribe of Reuben are the so-called Seminole Indians that are residing in the areas of Florida. The tribe of Naphtali is the so-called Argentinians all the way through to Chile in South America. The tribe of Asher are the so-called Colombians and Brazilians.
When I say that everybody.
Then the tribe of Issachar is inclusive of the Mexican Indians, the land of Mexico.
Right.
These people are the true nations of Israel.
Jesus. Okay, now y'all see where he get it from. He got it out World Star, but it is somebody out there who teaching it. So we're not gonna give him the whole case, right? We're not gonna give him the whole case. SoundCloud wasn't out yet, and he couldn't get a SoundCloud record deal, so he went to World Star. Okay, why does this have all American tribes on there? Because of the doctrine of discovery. Columbus, the black Jew, got the doctrine of discovery, and what he do? It was the exploration of North and South America, and just so happened, coincidentally, Detroit got the whole damn South America on it. Check. And so when we go through there, man, we know that it's a fact that 5 million people came out, according to slavevoyages.com, came out of Europe, right? Now, when you go through the methodology and break it down, nevertheless, we do have a file of 1,400 Atlantic voyages that might have carried slaves, but we have awaiting additional evidence. They're waiting on it. The majority of these certainly sailed from Europe to the Caribbean and then back without sailing anywhere near Africa. That's not to put down that Africans didn't come later. What that is to say is to show the European presence into the Caribbean islands, right? These places that they're saying that the Jews inhabit. Check, because I'm about to show you that the Jews are the colonizers, and that's why they just came and wrote our story. How do we know the Spanish was black? Well, let's go to the kings. This is the Incas list. This is Carlos Quintos right here on the Incas list. This is Philip II right here. The first Spaniard to make it to Texas was F. Stepanico de Moore down in Galveston Island. This is the primary. We took it ourselves. Here you go right here with his fair zone. You can get that in Henry Louis Gates Jr. book, 100 Facts. They tell you the first enslaved African arrived in Florida and all of this here. Well, we got another brother right here. 16th century conquistadors, African, Afro-Hispanic, referred to as black conquistadors. Guess what, family? Where as much a part of the exploration of the Americas is their Spanish counterparts. So niggas had more to do with it than their Spanish counterparts. Check. And this nigga here, he went through Cortez, he went to Tenochtitlan, he went to Florida. This nigga right here been through a lot of the trips. Now, how else do we know that the Spanish are black? Well, observation concerning the increase of mankind coming out of Benjamin Franklin, page 24, which leads me to the remark that the number of purely white people in the world are proportionally very small. So I don't know how a small number of white folks gonna enslave a large body of black folks. It was a nigga. All Africans, black and tawny, Asian chiefly tawny, American exclusive to the newcomers, and in Europe, the Spanish, Italian, French, Russian, Swedes, and Germans is what we call Swarthy. Let's walk. You had the explosion of the Jews. They got put out, so they say, right? That's how they write it in history. Then they show back up with everybody else shit, right? According to Columbus' diary, over 200,000 people were expelled out of there. Well, where they gonna go? To what the 12 tribe choice say. But when we go to the history, the ones in Mexico is taught. The first Jews that came to Mexico in 1519, they was Morenos. The ones that came to Columbus beginning in Spanish arrival, the Jews and Spanish colonization of America. These are the Jews colonizing America. Puerto Rico, first Jews got there, came with members with Christopher Columbus. Check. Nigga that got to Cuba came there with Christopher Columbus. Hispaniola, Haiti, niggas was Sephardic culture in their ancestors. Argentina, nigga, Sephardic fleeing persecution. Check. So when we looking around, everybody writing over, these niggas that brought this fake ass narrative out here and they writing over. Like the white boy say, nigga, how in the hell you gonna tell everybody else bloodline? You can't tell yours. Plus we got maps of y'all at home. Cause we got a home too. Damn, let us have a story, Mr. Colonizer. And you using that Bible, teach us in our 80. Okay. We know the first Jews to Haiti was Louis de Torres. First Jew to settle in Haiti was Louis de Torres with Christopher Columbus. Morenos, niggas. Check. How we know they was niggas, Chief? Because in 1683, the Jews were expelled from Haiti under the French colony due to the what? Code New York, or what you call the Black Codes. Only a black nigga can get put out on the Black Code. And nigga, I wish you would talk some revolutionary talk to me, nigga, about Haiti revolution, nigga, when right here in the Constitution and right here we have it translated. It said our inhabited slaves are now permitted territory. It said all men born in this country live and die free, and the Frenchmen. So this is some black European shit going on, Mr. Tribal Levi. Take you here to the next, to page 4. Chosen by Loventor to receive affairs, death, rebirth, government will take the Central Assembly, Constitution of San Domingo, and remain faithful to who? The French government. There's some black European shit going on, nigga. And his daddy was in a French secret society. Stop playing, nigga. We know our history. Taínos, okay? All of this is Taíno territory, homie. What do you mean, Hebrew Israelites? We don't know them folks. And so right here in Cuba, indigenous people, man, we got the Kalinagos, we got the Cayuga, all of these people who don't get their name said because this brother want to come. Now we have the Khakis or the chieftains of Puerto Rico right here. Taino Indians, not Hebrews. When we come over here, they say the tribe of Zebulun is the Kishimaya. Why would you say that? That is very disrespectful when we have over 6,000 structures in Guatemala alone. And Hebrews are too little. We got structures, we got rocks older than the Hebrews. Let's walk. Aztec, oh, Lord. Woo. Bless them, G. They try to even take Tillanosa land from me. Oh, boy, you know them Aborigines. I'm in it. You know them Aborigines ain't having it. I'm a little bit more nice. The tribe of Gad. Issachar, tribe of Gad, my ass, nigga. That's over 573 recognized tribes, 326 on Indian reservations, and you're gonna get one nation out of that, the tribe of Gad, my ass, nigga. Like we don't know that Chinese mestizos played an important part in the Filipino society, right?
And let's try to keep the profanity to a minimum, though. Let's try to keep the profanity to a minimum. Appreciate you.
All right, so when we leave here, when we leave there, we know Chinese mestizo played an important part in Philippine society. Asian slaves in colonial Mexico from Chinos to Indians. All right, in time, Chinos in Mexico came to be treated under law as Indians, becoming indigenous vassals of the Spanish crown in 1672. This brother then showed a lot of mongoloid pictures up there saying Native American brothers and sisters, when we know that these people were implants. Yeah, they went through something traumatic as a slave trade, but the Spanish Jews did it. Let's walk and talk. First Jews that settled in Carolina trace their roots to Spain and Portugal from the Inquisition. Everyone's saying the same thing. Judah, nah, man, Judah Martell, man, only Judah I know is Judah Benjamin, who was a plantation owner, had over 140 slaves, and he was a Sephardic Jew, okay? Call him the brains of the Confederacy, okay? The B'nai B'nit is what officially found 1843 a part of the Rothschild British monarchy efforts to establish what today is known as the Zionist movement, okay? This nigga was an agent of the Jew of House of Rothschild, okay? In the book A Long Shadow, Jefferson Davis Final Days of the Confederacy, we get Benjamin had a Confederacy Attorney General, Secretary of War, becoming Secretary in 1862. Benjamin was short, swarthy, and stocky. He was a little short, stocky, cocky dude. Now, my boy Antonio, man, my boy Antonio, really a lot of these grafted that thought of the lost tribes of Israel and America from my boy Antonio, right? Now my boy Antonio, he swore on the oath that the natives were remnants of the 10 tribes of Reuben and Levi. Now this is in Brazil, but when you go to their chart, they say that it's the Seminole. I said, Lord have mercy, bless their heart. Who did that? Because we know that 1816, there was increasing friction between white settlers and Florida Indians in the Creek Confederation, and that began the War of the Seminoles. Now you call them runaways or slaves or something like that. I said, man, what is going on? Because when I read the book of Numbers 1 and 20, and the children of Reuben, Israel, eldest son, I'm trying to figure out how the oldest boy become the youngest boy on the map, on the 12 tribes. When we come over here, the English found hundreds of people living free in Florida Peninsula and Savannah and Muskogee is their core language. Similarly, it meant that they were free people because they never been dominated by the Spanish or French. Okay, get your boys up. The Floridians included languages of Creek, Muskogee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Pascagoula, Cherokee, Seminole, and several other Southern languages. Okay, there are no languages primitives to say that it is extinct, and although cannot be revived from the Hebrew. So none of these tribes spoke Hebrew. It is contradictional to speak three languages radically different and derived from a common source. He said, I ain't gonna show no bloodline. Well, I'm speaking on the Seminole homie because that's my bloodline. Billy Osceola, Big Osceola, Chief Osceola. That's my bloodline. That's my 8th ancestor right there. There go my grandma born on the reservation right there. Took that picture on the reservation. Our land is still down there on the oldest reservation in Texas. I am a Seminole. I am a Casitas Indian. And so you can take your Hebrew narrative back, brother. We don't speak the language. We've never been enslaved like your Cimarronians or whoever you talked about. This is a real American Indian story, and you're down 2 bars.
All right, Tom. Chief got it in. Well, Hebrew don't look phased. 3 minutes on the clock. Gorilla, it's on you.
Again, I'll praise you. How about Shemi Awashai? I asked you for a blood test, right? A blood test to actually prove that you're a Native American, and you didn't provide that. Nice try. This isn't a 12 tribe chart debate. That's not in the title. The fact that you're attacking it shows me again how one-dimensional you are. You're not on topic at all. The topics are Deuteronomy 28, then it's are the American Indians Israelites. We're still in the Deuteronomy 28 round and you're not addressing it. I'm going down line by line, curse by curse, and demonstrating. So you're totally off topic. What you're doing is filibustering because that's all you know how to do, brother. He showed a map of the tribal allotments and thought and acted as if that meant that the tribes were there. There is not one single scholar or source that you can provide that will attest to all the tribes being in that land and occupying it at that time. Even the white identity theft Jews will admit that the tribes were lost, and even the Southern Kingdom tribes were not occupying that land at that time. You just showed a map of the allotments. That's all that is. That's no different than a map that's called Cherokee land, but no Cherokee people presently live there. They've been relegated to reservations, right? It has nothing to do with that whatsoever. Of course, I addressed the fact that the tribes or the 12 tribe chart is not absolute. The brothers in Africa have one that's pertinent to the African tribes, right? Because there's a diaspora pursuant to prophecy as well as history. But he's showing sources. I see somebody say, oh my God, sources. He's showing sources of facts that have nothing to do with the topic of the debate, so they're irrelevant. Stay on topic, right? Brother, he might have been one of brother, a certain part of the school they had to take him up out of class. He popped a couple pills, then he came and sat back down because he can't stay on topic and task, right? He grown now, so he don't take them no more, right? So going in further, the Clotilda was verified, so he could say whatever he want. He didn't show and prove anything. It's verified again by the Alabama Historical Commission. This is called the La Union that was carrying indigenous or Mayan slaves. And then we have Puerto Rican slaves being carried from Puerto Rico to Hawaii to pick up in pineapple plantations via the New York Times. So these are various ways in which we fulfill Deuteronomy 28, Black, Hispanic, and Native American. And even now we have in Duluth, Minnesota, Native American women being sold and sex trafficked on boats right now. So our people, the people who we say are Israelites, are still being affected by Deuteronomy 28 and 68 right now, right? Like it says, an American researcher says First Nations women from Thunder Bay, Ontario, have been sold on ships in the harbor at Duluth, Minnesota, right? So this is happening presently, and this is via the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. You see what I'm saying? I want to emphasize a crucial point. This is not an abstract. I already said it, Salaki, at this point. So this is what TopCatz has to do, which he hasn't done, which would be to illustrate that multiple distinct groups of whom we don't recognize as having Israelite heritage have historically undergone an identical set of challenges, which he hasn't done. All praise you. How about Shemi Awashai?
Tom. All right. They getting it in. We loving it. Everybody make sure y'all say, let folks know how y'all feeling about the debate in the chat. We about to switch lanes. All right, now we at halftime. I jumped the gun, but now we at halftime. now we here. We about to switch it over. That was the Deuteronomy 28 portion. Now we talking about all the Native Americans, Israelites. All right. We about to start out with quick commercial real quick. Yeah, it's your go. It's your go. Yes, sir. But quick commercial real quick. Make sure y'all pull up. I already know y'all heavy in the chat right now. Y'all heavy in the chat right now. If you really trying to get it in, you got to pull up to the after party. You got to join the conversation in the after party. Remember, keep your questions short, sweet, so we can get everybody in and get a lot of, you know what I'm saying, discussion, conversation, and all that. We're gonna get Gorilla Hebrew back, and then we're gonna get started with Big Chief. Get into this question: Are the Native Americans Israelites? Where you at, Big Dog? Where you at, Gorilla? You can go ahead and get it started. He said halftime for real.
You know what? Put out. You know, yeah, he tried to go get some Vaseline cut on top of his eye.
Yeah. Get it together. Get it together. Y'all get y'all something to drink.
Hey, light the chat up, man. Don't forget, it's going down at the sa.neter studios, the after party. Y'all pull up, come to the after party. You know, get y'all some communion. We're doing communion. We're gonna have Jesus blood and breadcrumbs. So y'all make sure y'all out there is going down after this. We about to sacrifice this boy. He down 2-0 that fast. We at halftime. Maybe they the Colorado Buffs and they play better in the second half. We gonna see.
Yeah, y'all let us know who y'all feeling in the chat. Y'all let us know who y'all feeling, who y'all think really getting it in. I feel like both of y'all have brought a very respectable conversation. I appreciate the scholarship. You know what I mean? We got the statistical analysis, the historical analysis.
Make a good debate with you though. I think it make a good debate with you.
Hey, Gorilla, we ready. We ready.
Yeah, come on, man. Come get this work.
My fault, man. I had to take a piss, man.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, no, yeah. We said halftime. We said half. That's what you do at halftime.
Halftime, that's it.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's rock.
Yeah. So, all right. We started out Big Chief TopCatz. Again, 15 minutes on the clock. The question of the debate: are the Native Americans Israelites? Let's get it. You want to pull up your presentation?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
So the question is, are American Indians Hebrew Israelites? And we can't curse on here, so I'm gonna say H now. And they know they not. So since they want to lie, let's come out here and tell you who they really are. Let's work. Now the tribe is fake. They all know it's fake. They say the OG lied and he a hater. Well then, let's see my favorite Hebrew got to say.
Bivens was over the school. Ariel was one of the ones coming up in the school. When he got the vision, of course he brought it to Bivens. Bivens knew the vision was right. And of course, being the head of the school, Bivens brought it out to everybody.
Now, when he's saying he knew the vision was right, so a brother had a health injury, so he was at home. He said, somebody tapped on him. He rolled over and it was Jesus. Y'all remember I was on sa.neter the other night, me in the pot, and a brother came up there and told us he 500 and he seen Jesus. And hey, I mean, Paul met him on the road to Damascus. So this brother out the Hebrew Israelite camp say Jesus came over his house, sat down, and told him the 12 tribes of Israel. Right on. So that's the vision that he's talking about.
That's who the Lord decided to give it to. That's right. And he got it and he passed it on. And I remember, let me tell you something else that was heavy. Because this is what y'all don't know.
This what y'all don't know.
When I was there and I'm talking to Ariel about it, Ariel said to me personally, he said, Johanna, but you know what's the amazing part about it? I said, what, Ariel? He said, when I got the vision, we knew nothing about archaeology and history.
Listen. So he freestyled it, and now they making it all up as they go.
Israelite School of UBK didn't heavily go into archaeology until Yeshaya started going heavy. We had some artifacts about Israel being in Egypt, Israel being black, but we hadn't touched the Middle East.
Or America. So this is some brand new talk. And according to Garfield, it's only coming from white Hebrew Israelites. Let Garfield tell it, right? I don't get down like that. But Garfield passing notes saying all white Hebrew Israelites are now pushing this certain doctrine.
We hadn't touched not the Middle East. We hadn't touched the medieval times. We were still studying and developing those things during them times.
In the 80s.
Back in the 80s. Once again, I was there. You ain't got the one. I'm there in the room. They wrote it down. It was strange to me. He said, this was strange to me that the Lord showing me these are the 12 tribes, because we had no real connection to them. He said, and I started to study it, and what was even heavier was history, Russian icons. But meaning he didn't have any proof that this was true.
No proof. So what is Guerrilla Hebrew doing here today? Are the Israelites and Indians the same age now?
They knew it was true, and they just, Bivens and them went on the faith that they knew that this young brother was sincere with the truth. And so they went on, they said, okay, the Lord showed it to you, we're going to run with it.
And now we got Guerrilla Hebrew after a World Star hip hop video. Let's walk.
We ran with synagogue.
Let's tell what they really got.
Invested in black.
Who are they really?
It's all out. Turn of the century in the 1900s, white Jewish synagogue.
Listen.
Invested in black Jewish synagogue.
This is the origins of the black Hebrew Israelites here. Let's walk.
Black Jewish synagogues started to emerge. What people don't understand is Matthews and all them cats back then, they was black synagogues.
Tell it on.
But they was not black synagogues like we think of black Hebrew Israelites today. They were black synagogues that were counterparts to their white synagogue.
Talk to them.
In other words, they wasn't saying the white man's the devil.
Nah.
They was treating themselves like they were Jewish conversions.
Talk to them. Tell the truth.
Like that the white Jews was the real Jews, but that they were black Jews by conversion. So they was respecting the white Jews. And that's what Matthews and them was doing. But here's what people don't know. Bivens was a real radical.
And so they saying this guy Bivens
came
and changed the game.
He came up from the South and he had learned about being an Israelite from the slaves.
Lord have mercy, I gotta stop him on that. And this is my favorite Hebrew. That's my favorite Hebrew right there. General Yohana. Thank you. I want to let my witness off the stand. Appreciate you for that witness. All right, let's walk. So where did it come from? The Ethiopian movement. Because see, they out here talking about they come out the transatlantic slave trade and all of these Native Americans and all that, but they ain't even do the archaeology in the 80s. Where does come from? The Ethiopian movement, man. Okay, it's gonna break down and come down into what is called the Moorish Zionist Temple. I want y'all to understand that their message was African for the Africans, okay, which was later a pillar of who? The UNIA, Marcus Garvey. Why are they so associated, Marcus Garvey, Africa for the Africans, when it comes from a white boy? Africa from the Africans is come from a book of a white Christian book, missionary work from Joseph Booth. So let's walk, man. In the beginning, Black Jewish movement claim was Garvey was the man that proclaimed that Africans was Hebrews. And he played a role in this. And now everybody knows Garvey was working with them white folk and working with them Jews. Now, you had Josiah Ford, a self-proclaimed Ethiopian Jew. Because see, they started out, they weren't talking that talk, they were saying that they were Ethiopian. Yeah, Ethiopians ain't go through no transatlantic slave trade. Let's walk. Now, you had them worshiping with these white Jews, like my favorite Hebrew just said. So they were sponsored by white Jews to celebrate a new member of Bet Benai Abraham. Now we know that's Forward. Now that's an Ethiopian congregation by Forward. Now watch this here. These Ethiopian black communities spoke West Indian accent, together with their several white Jews who seem to play the important role, not during the ceremony, but also generally with the Judaization of the black community. These niggas are agents from the white folks. The congregations of Bet Benai Abraham purports congregation men and women from West Indies, Arab, Abyssinia, and European countries of Jewish faith that now reside in American colonies of Ethiopian Jews. Stop it. We know who y'all are. Or the Israelites and the Indians, they're saying, nah, we know who the Israelites are. Let's walk. And so in Harlem, Black Jews leadership, markedly West Indian, are wise foreign born. Most of them come from East Africa, South America, observed in the early report, Ben-Haim Abraham on the Ford, come out of Barbados, South America, Bermuda, Samuel Valentine, his family is gonna come from Jamaica. The Moorish Zionist, he gonna trace his to Eastern countries, of Yemen. They got a number of Yemen Jews. You got Moroccan Jews, Egyptian Jews, Abyssinian Jews, about 200. Okay, now all the way in Cairo, Egypt. You feel me? And then who we got? We got your boy Matthew, who's saying he's from Lagos, but we'll find it out. Well, where did it all come from? A white boy, of course. Called the father of the philosophers, my boy Jacques. Yeah, little Jacques. Okay, and his black brethren who lived in Abyssinia. All right, so this guy right here is going to put together some funding. Okay, is it possible for Negroes in America to respect the divided basis of color? Okay, and so he's going to be cool with UNIA and get generated, and he's going to bring in this philosopher Jew, Ethiopia, black Jewish rhetoric, right? And he also met with who? F.S. Cherry, one of the first black Hebrew Israelites that's out here running around with this. Check. Now let's walk. Now the belief that the commandment keeper Rabbi Matthew explained that the black man is direct descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. If they don't have the same message, then why do we hear Guerrilla Hebrew and other brothers saying the same thing? And they say Esau, whose skin is hairy like a white man, don't we hear them say the same thing? The only thing is different is Deuteronomy 28 in the slave trade. Because back then they were saying you were descendant of Solomon and Queen Sheba, who should return to Africa, who bore a son with the biblical historic, Malik. Now let's walk. Now, Matthew, he was strongly influenced by white Jews, like we just told you. Many other congregations influenced by Pan-African, Marcus Garvey, UNIA. Let's walk. This institution, Jewish function synagogues, embrace tenets, Orthodox Judaism, Matthew's Association, Rabbi Ford, or the Negro Improvement, Marcus Garvey, or lessons. They brought Hebrew lessons in, right? Now, watch this here. The congregation was a Masonic lodge, the Royal Order of Ethiopian Jews. This is a Masonic, I told you, the Masons the whole time. That Masons, the large function of secret society, where the initiates explored a branch of Judaism mystical called Kabbalah, and the school sought to present a systematic understanding of the practice of Judaism. Are they Indians? No, these are foreigners. And the brother came out here, did a magic trick, and said, I saw you disappear with my own eyes. He said, yes, brother, I saw you disappear with my own eyes. The worshiper stood up and said, let us sing out to all. They stood up and said, hallelujah, the Lord loves our teacher. That's what the Hebrew do to him today, huh? Now, Matthew.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Okay, cool. Matthew, these secret societies that this black Jewish paradigm started to create in the 1920s, having black Israelite Jews from Caribbean carnival tradition, Pentecostal Christianity, spiritual system, Kabbalah, Freemasonry, all of this here mixed up into one, right? And so the difference, the African American, it was an audience where they said Rabbi Matthew used to talk different in front of black folk than he did in front of white folk. Now we know he went out there to school in Ohio with the white Jews, the big money white Jews. Now, they said his form of Judaism was different from them. He got so much money for them white folks. Now, in the end, before he died on his birth certificate, said the brother was actually born in Lagos, Nigeria. I mean, he said he was born in Lagos, Nigeria, but it actually said he was West Indian. Okay, and when the brother died, they reported that members were upset to discover that Matthew was not born in Africa. Okay, so I feel like it's foolish to ask the question, are we Hebrew Israelites or are we American Indian? Our parents didn't tell us that, and we damn sure ain't from the West. I mean, we sure ain't from the West Indies. We're not from Morocco, all of these places where the Sephardic Jews went. We know the Jews and the Moors been together. That's why they created the Moorish Zionist temple. We got y'all. Y'all came out of this. One West came out of this. The brother Hebrew comes from GMS camp, and he's branched off and did an excellent job. I got to give him that because I seen his journey. I know what it takes to do it and not have no help. You understand? So I respect him as a brother on that. You feel me? But we are not Hebrew Israelites, we know who this movement comes from. It was funded and formed by white people, and it was brought out here to bring, and it was what they say, Judaize black folks here in America. The American Indian has always been going by bloodline. At that time, we had a system where we had to fight them with our genealogies. And so now, brother, to the answer to that question in this first round, are the American Indians Hebrew Israelites? Since I can't curse, I'm gonna say H now, bars. Oh, hold on. Because here go the records right here. United States Declaration of Intention. Okay, Winsworth, 31 years old.
You got 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Okay. Description: black complexion, dark height, 5'4". Winsworth 5'4". The picture got him looking tall, 150 pounds. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. But St. Mary, St. Kitts. I was born in St. Kitts. We got him right here at 130 West 139th Street, New York City. I immigrated to the United States of America, right here from St. Kitts. Got the vessel that he came on and everything. Check. Are the Hebrew Israelites American Indians? Nah, Jack. We from North America. Bars.
All right, Tom. All right, we're getting the second half started out strong. Gorilla is back on you. The rebuttal for 3 minutes before you get into your presentation. I'm ready whenever you are.
Yes, sir. Again, all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Want everybody keep something in mind. He said H-Naw about 3 to 4 times that American Indians were not Israelite. Everybody just keep that in mind. Notice he was talking on end about the 12 tribes chart, and that is not at all the topic of the debate. He talked about Marcus Garvey and all these conspiracy theories about where the movement came from. None of this is the topic of the debate. The debate is not the origin of the Black Hebrew Israelite movement in America. The topic was, at the first 2 rounds, Deuteronomy 28, which he didn't attack. And then secondly, are American Indians Israelites? He didn't even really talk about American Indians at all in that previous round. I don't understand. Like, please, can you stay on topic? Like, just for the sake of the audience, and so we can say you actually had some type of a chance at making points, because you're having a different debate than I'm having, and you're just consistently filibustering. And that's not what it's going to take to get the job done at this level, brother. I told you, I warned you, you were in waters entirely too deep, and you're drowning, and your reliance on your consistent rhetoric and lack of ability to actually address the topic is a manifestation of that, brother. And what's crazy is we supposed to believe this guy is an American Indian, but he's saying all these American Indian words and he's mispronouncing them drastically. Like, he talked about the Taino chiefdoms. He said, we ain't no Israelites, we're Taino. Well, Taino actually goes back to the word Tahan. And keep that in mind about the Taino, because we're going to talk about the Taino briefly. But what's interesting is you call the rulers of the chiefdoms khakis. Khakis are the dickies we used to wear, sir. They're called caciques. For the record, how you say that word about the Puerto Rican rulers, the Tainos, it's cacique, not khaki, right? If you actually were connected to that, you probably would know that. But the average girl know that because they go in the store. It's literally the name of a brand of bra and panties that girls wear now, right? So even the average sister that goes up in the store and gets bra and panties knows that better than you, and you're claiming to be a scholar in the field. That's a joke, sir. That's a joke, right? He also said, we damn sure ain't from the West Indies. After he just showed a map of the West Indies and claimed that the American Indians is from there, he said, we damn sure ain't from the West Indies. He said that. Then he talked about earlier, I'm going to get back up, don't talk about no Haitian Revolution. You talked about Toussaint Louverture and the treaty that he signed with the French, where they backdoored him in 1804. Emperor Dessalines took over, created a new Declaration of Independence, and ordered the 1804 Haitian Massacre, which was a complete ethnic cleansing of all white people on the island. So you damn white were revolutionary. What did the Kushada do to the white man? Right? When did the Kushada gain their independence, stick and maintain it for centuries? Right? According to you, your tribe got disbanded, and now allegedly somebody else is sitting up in the chief of your tribe, and you're claiming to be a chief, and all you got is a YouTube channel, brother. All praise to the Most High.
Tom. All right, keep that energy. 15 minutes.
All praises, man. I'm gonna keep the energy. So now, I don't like TopCatz can create whatever, manufacture whatever definition of American Indian he wants. I'm just gonna go by Oxford, right? a member of any of the indigenous peoples of North, Central, and South America, especially those indigenous to what is now the continental United States, but all of the Americas. And what's interesting is he's reading about these Jewish people, these white Jewish people, who he already knows we are saying are not the real Jews. But then he gets mad when I show what he calls Mongoloids as Native Americans, right? That's a contradiction, brother, right? But again, a member of any of the indigenous peoples of North, Central, and South America, especially those indigenous to what is now the continental U.S., right? I want y'all to meet somebody. This is Chief Sakim Wampwinkin. So I messed that first name up, but I'm not claiming to be the indigenous expert or an indigenous person, right? Wampatak, right? He's not a fake chief. He's not just a guy with a YouTube channel who has somebody go to Michael's and make a crown of feathers for him. This is an actual legitimate Native American chief, right? If you can stop my time, Domo, so I can play the video.
I got you.
Okay, how do I do it? Share screen.
Remember, while we waiting for this to come up, remember, make sure y'all pull up. Make sure y'all pull up. Y'all know it's gonna be a lot of folks in there talking about who they think won the debate. Y'all gotta be the ones that still talking about y'all. I don't know. Y'all wasn't it. You feel me? So we gotta represent for those who actually put up the bread to see this clash. You feel me? Because they getting it in. Let us know who y'all think winning in the chat. Like you could tell, you know what I'm saying, who with who from the comments, but you feel me? If y'all think TopCatz is up, let's see the feathers. If y'all think Gorilla Hebrew up, let's see the gorillas. Put them in the chat. You ready, Gorilla Hebrew?
Where your people come from?
Israel.
Israel? What do they call your people on this side of the earth?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts? That's a native tribe?
Massachusetts state named themselves after our tribe.
Massachusetts. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Algonquin language is the same as Israel language, the same as Hebrew language.
Yes, sir.
My language is very similar to this.
Okay.
As my grandfather, who was the chief of the tribe, I serve as council chief now, but my grandfather, he served as council chief, and when he did, the national designation was Titicut. So on the old documents that you can pull from the Vatican from the 1621, you can actually see there that it says Massachusetts country or Titicut country.
Basically, you're acknowledging that we all go back
Absolutely.
to Israel.
Absolutely. They found an ancient rock from my tribe. The language on there is the same language as the Hebrew language, right? But also, what's interesting about this rock is that the story is the story of the Jewish high holidays, but it's ours.
What's your name, brother?
Yeah, Chief Wampamikun Wampachuk, man. It's a real pleasure, man.
Right?
Yeah, real pleasure.
From a chief to a chief, man.
Yeah.
It's good to meet you. Yeah, man, let's drop a bomb for that. Man, that's an actual Native American chief, not somebody that did arts and crafts, put some feathers on, put it on their head, and made a YouTube channel. That's actually a Native American chief. And we heard what he said. They're from Israel. They are Israelites. They speak Hebrew. Oh, and you see, if you looked at the people that's with him, right? Now, that guy with the blue pants is his father. So they're the black indigenous people that you're talking about, right? The people that you say are the actual legitimate indigenous people. And guess what? He's still saying that, right? Now, here's the interesting part about it. TopCatz relies primarily on information passed down. Hold on, what's this? Oh, this just popped up. Hold on, what's this? Hold on.
It's just a poll. It's just a poll for the chat. Yeah, you can just move it.
I can't see it though. Like, I mean, I can't move it. Oh, there we go. I got it. All praise. All right. So TopCatz relies primarily on information passed down from his great aunt for his identity. Interestingly, the American Indian chief shares the tradition held by his tribe, which affirms their belief in being descendants of Israelites. Why should we believe your auntie and not them? Why shouldn't we believe a legitimate tribe that's recognized, that also is black, right? That is actually doing work out here, but we just got to believe this dude auntie. What sense do that make, right? Let's keep going, though. Let's keep going. TopCatz has some very interesting beliefs. I'd like to take a look at one that is very pertinent to this debate tonight. Now, remember, he said, hell nah, the American Indians are not Israelites. TopCatz wrote a book, American Bloodlines of the Gods and Civilization. Right? Hold on.
Scary hours.
It's scary hours. It's definitely scary hours, right? By TopCatz. The copy right there says 2023. It's this year. Interesting chapters in this book, right? Chapter 4, Egyptians, Israelites, and Noah's Ark in America. Master Masons, Hiram, King David, and Solomon's Temple in America, right? Sumer, Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, Hebrew, and Israelites. Gods are from America. Chapter 10, Hathor, Asherah, and all these goddesses in the Americas. Chapter 11, the green men resurrect Jesus, Tammuz, Osiris, Adonis, origins of Jesus in America. In his preface, he says the indigenous people of ancient America are the true inheritors of a divine bloodline. I thought this guy told me he was an atheist 2 nights ago. But now he's saying that there's a divine bloodline. That sounds like a chosen people to me. That sounds like Israelite talk to me, right? These societies revered the divine and believed in gods who interacted with humans in tangible ways. But I thought you just said that the indigenous peoples of the Americas were atheists. He told me that 2 nights ago. But now let's go to page 19. In page 19, he says this. Therefore, the tortoise is a Tyrian emblem found on the ruins of ancient America. Reference the history of ancient America anterior to the time of Columbus, proving the identity of the Aborigines with the Tyrians and Israelites. So this fool chose to debate a topic that he published a book on, agrees with me, and disagrees with him. Hold on.
And let's keep the language respectful. Let's keep the language respectful. Yeah.
My apologies. My apologies. I love the brother.
All good.
My
All good.
apologies,
All good.
right? But this brother, I'm just wondering, like, why would you do this, brother? Right? You want to talk about bars? Them was bars that you put in that book that contradict everything that you're saying right now. That's bars, right? So again, he says that the Aborigines, indigenous peoples, are Israelites, and the introduction of Christianity into the Western Hemisphere by Apostle Thomas, by Jones, George, whatever, right? Another one. Now we go to page 27. He said that is the problem. They're saying that this story took place here in the Americas. If Solomon's temple was in the Mediterranean area, these places are geographically close to Egypt, Europe, and Africa. Still, the gold and this voyage to Ophir are recorded to take 3 years, right? That's in the Bible in the Book of Kings. It took 3 years, a long journey, which kept Solomon's fleet abroad for 3 years. Took it where? To South America, he says. Dr. Von Hunch has recently been exploring the forests of Peru. This is in his book now, that this doctor went and explored this forest. And what did he find? He says he found an Indian tribe, 300, with a Jewish caste and language containing many words resembling ancient Hebrew. In his book, he now produces a second witness attesting to American Indians being Israelites and speaking Hebrew. The name Solomon had been frequently bestowed among the men of the tribe. The Pampas del Sacramento natives told him legends of seafaring men who in the times most forgotten had made their way to the river of Hula. They found a gold mine from which they carried out significant quantities of precious treasure, and now they're trying to link this to America. So he published this in his book. I would love to understand why he would want to debate this topic, and this is published. This is like, what? What are we talking about here, right? Let's keep going, right? So it's a picture of our brother, beautiful coat. He got his feathers on. He don't even know where he got them feathers on his head, right? Now, the Bible tells us Ephraim, or the northern kingdom, right, who we believe came over here to the Americas, who are the American Indians. Ephraim also is like a silly dove without heart. They call to Egypt, they go to Assyria. So they were following the ways of the Egyptians and Assyrians, right? And that's why Montezuma dressed like this. That's why they wore the feathers. That comes from ancient Assyria. He don't even know why he wear them feathers. He's following an Assyrian custom that was adopted by the ancient Israelites who migrated over here, right? So now we're going to read a prophecy about that, Ezekiel 23, 5-9. And Aholah played the harlot when she was mine, and she doted on her lovers, on the Assyrians, her neighbors. right? She went and fell in love with the Assyrians. Wherefore I delivered her into the hand of her lovers, into the hand of the Assyrians, upon whom she doted. So what the Lord is saying here in this prophecy is because the Israelites had their head up the Assyrians behind, he caused the Assyrians to oppress them. And just like many of our people, they love the ways of the oppressor. So that's why they adopted wearing those feathers, and that's why he has them on his head, right? Now, that's also why the style of pyramid in which that was built over here in the Americas was built. It's a cross between that of Egypt, what they called for, and Assyria, which they went to, or the Egyptian or the Sumerian ziggurat. It's a cross between the Egyptian pyramid and the ziggurat that's found in Sumer. That's what we actually see in the Americas being built. And they're not graveyards or coffins like the Egyptian ones. They're places of worship like the ones in Sumer or Assyria. Now, it's funny because he said, we got rocks older than the Hebrew Israelites. I knew he would say that. I want everybody out there who knows anything about science to understand something. Carbon dating or dating a rock does not determine at what time the rock was taken and put into a structure. It only gives you the date of the rock. The rock can be 50 million years old. That doesn't mean 50 years ago it was taken and used to build any of the Mayan pyramids at all. You're going to need more than that in order to substantiate it. The age of organic material does not determine when it was used by human beings in order to build a structure, brother. Anyway, right? More evidence of Assyrian culture being followed by the Native Americans. Here's Chief Joseph. He had something called the Chief Joseph Stone, which was a piece of Assyrian tablet. There you go. It's written in the Akkadian language that he had on him. He had a pouch that had the Assyrian star, the symbol of ancient Assyria. He had feathers on his head like the ancient Assyrians wore. That is what was influencing these people who were Israelites, their oppressor, the Assyrians, who they escaped and came over here to the Americas from. Right? More evidence of Assyrian influence in the ancient Americas. These are Mayan glyphs that were found in Florida. As we can see, the Assyrian star there in the right corner, and we see
5 minutes,
and we see cartoon or drawings of the Mayan glyphs that were found there in Florida, because the Mayans migrated from Florida over into the land in which they are now after they landed there from sailing from the Middle East. Right? Here's more. We have Mayans with Star of David earrings, and the Star of David archaeologically, they're in their buildings on their temples, the same symbol, and it's not a star at all, but for purpose of what people commonly call it, we'll call it that. And we see it there in ancient Israel, that Star of David, or that hexagram, right? We also see many Native American tribes use that hexagram. That's not by coincidence, by any stretch of the imagination. We also see the tree of life, the same symbol of the tree of life that they drew in ancient Israel there in ancient Mexico. There they are side by side, right? We see fringes on the ancient Native American, or not the ancient, but on the Native or the American Indian garments. See those fringes? See those fringes just got on? Just like the ancient Israelites wore fringes, right? Another one of the ancient Israelites wearing fringes. The ancient Aztecs wearing fringes, right? Now, why? Because in Deuteronomy 22:12, the Most High God commanding us, thou shalt make the fringes upon the 4 quarters of thy vesture, wherewith thou cover thyself. Right? It's the lost lunar stone. Here we have Paleo-Hebrew carved into a stone. Now, many people, because they dislike it, try to dismiss it as a forgery, but no actual declarative or conclusive evidence has been produced to emphatically render this a forgery. None. So you can say it, that's an assertion, that's fine, but you can't prove it. Here's Paleo-Hebrew, the 10 Commandments carved into a rock in New Mexico, right? Why would that be if these people are not, in fact, Israelites? The American Indians are not Israelites, right? Now, if we deal with the Nawa Uto-Aztecan language itself has been shown to have many Hebraic Semitic roots. He said that, these people didn't speak no Hebrew, but it's been shown to have many Hebraic Semitic roots and can be traced to northwest Palestine, where parts of the Israelite tribe of Issachar settled. The tribe there, you got a problem with the chart? Well, look, there's a linguistic link between the people we're saying of Issachar and the ancient tribe of Issachar. Right? And coincidentally enough, in Mexico, there's literally a town called Issachar de Matamoros, right? Issachar de Matamoros is a city in Issachar de Matamoros municipality located in the southwestern part of the Mexican state of Puebla. Puebla is Spanish for village, so basically this place is literally called the village of Issachar that exists in Mexico. It's located in the heart of Mexico, not far from the current capital of Mexico City and ancient capital of Tenochtitlan. Right? That's how you say it, brother. You messed that up earlier. Right? The Mexicans, now look at this source here. The Mexicans are originally of the 10 tribes captured by Salmanassar, exactly what we say, and of the family of Issachar, whom the Indians recognize as their special ancestor. Another link. right? Now, I want to show you this source that I'm reading. This source that I'm reading is being sold for 18,000 euros. That's how serious and important this source was, that saying that these people are Issachar, people were willing to pay 18,000 euros to possess this thing, right?
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Right? With his last 2 minutes, just to further prove the linguistic connection, right? Everybody meet Brian Stubbs. He earned his MA in linguistics from the University of Utah and completed coursework and comprehensive exams toward a PhD in Near Eastern language and linguistics. So he's qualified in Near Eastern language, which Hebrew would qualify as. Coursework in Hebrew, Arabic, Aramaic, and Egyptian was followed by years of personal study in those languages and several dozen Native American languages. He has presented many papers at professional conferences and published numerous articles on the Uto-Aztecan language family in linguistic journals, right? And he came to the conclusion that these were, in fact, a Hebrew language, right? As he says, a few years ago, Brian Stubbs, then a doctoral candidate in linguistics at the University of Utah, received a grant, right, to study the question of whether elements of Hebrew language could be detected among native tongues of the Uto-Aztecan family of Western North America. The data examined, including sound correspondence, vocabulary, semantic patterns, fossilized verb forms, and other morphology. For example, the Hebrew word yasav, to sat or dwell, is notably similar to the Hopi yasiv, which means to sit, and the Hebrew kanap, which means wing, recalls to the Proto-Aztecan anap, which means when you see how similar those are, yasiva, yasav, kanap, anap, right? The present paper presents 203 equivalences between Semitic and Uto-Aztecan.
30 seconds.
Material still being analyzed contains over 200 additional Hebrew roots with apparent rexes in the North American language family. So here we have yet another linguistic connection by a scholar being directly made between the ancient Hebrew and the Uto-Aztecan language, or the people of ancient Mexico. So you got to refute that, brother, or you virtually forfeited. All praise Yahweh Bashem Yahushua.
All right, time. Information on information. Big Chief, it's on.
Oh, okay. I knew you was talking about me. You said information on information. Man, I want to thank the brother for promoting my book. I actually dropping my new book tonight. You know, I'm Not Black, I'm Indian, the Miseducation of the Black American. He misquoted my book, or mistook it, or misunderstood it, because never in this book did I say that we were Hebrew Israelites. The brother had it all wrong. And I understand a lot of the things that they're saying and the people who are trying to make those connections. But see, my game is you have to find yourself in the story. So I'm glad my fourth round is going to talk about my book, even though you promoted it. So now this fourth round, I get to show you exactly what I'm talking about, because I know you didn't read the book. Somebody screenshotted you and sent you that shit. And I mean, those things, and it's not going to help, okay? Because you still failed to show yourself. This brother went and got a rock when we got real, actual people. The Bible ain't never used a rock. The Bible used Genesis 10, the genealogy. They used Matthew 1, the genealogies, who begot who behat who. Y'all use Genesis 25, 21. Y'all know that Jacob and Esau, who they mom and daddy is. We need a mom and a dad, a human being, and not a rock, because all of that is tied to Freemasonic. All of that was Masonic. All right, and I had something for that, but I'm not even worried about that. Right, you down 3. This is my last round, and I'm really finna take it to you. So I hope you're ready, man, because I'm ready. Domo, you ready?
I'm ready to get it, man. You still got one more rebuttal after this, though, too. You got one more rebuttal after this. So let's get it.
All right, turn up.
See, it's confusion, because when you talk about haplogroups, you talk about things that developed 14 to 18,000 years ago.
So the brother came in here, he talking about he want a blood test from me, but he talking about he don't believe in it. Ain't this the same guy said he's 3% African? But he's here to argue about an African slave trade. I see why he got off that African slave narrative. The brother said he wants to see my blood test. Check. And now he here talking about he don't believe in blood tests. Let's walk.
You're talking to Bible believers, right? We believe that 5,000 to 6,000 years ago, everybody in the world descended from 6 people. So a haplogroup is meaningless to a Hebrew Israelite. Moreover, The population growth of the planet Earth is in direct flow with everybody descending from 6 people 5,000 to 6,000 years ago. Right. So actually, observable science disagrees with haplogroups, right?
Okay, so that's our brother who came in here asking for blood tests. Yeah, like he the Dogs Commission. Yeah, he come here asking for blood test like he the Dogs Commission. Brother say everybody come from 5, 6 people, 5,000 to 6,000 years ago or something like that. Can somebody tap him on the shoulder and tell this brother that the father of all men is 340,000 years old, and the brother is originally from Florida, and they found the body in Carolina, and that's our brother Albert Perry? Can somebody please inform this brother? See, that's why when the Hebrew Israelite get to talking, he can't talk. He ain't been around long enough. He the little bro. He the little bro. We got civilizations that predate your biblical characters. Okay, right here in the ancient mound sites of Louisiana, 5,000 these mounds built between 5,000 BCE, 2,500 BCE. Where are the Hebrews at? They ain't made it to America yet. Remember, y'all left in the second season, 7 AD. Check. Louisiana has over 800 archaeological sites with mounds. For the Hebrews to get over here when after the Syrian put them out, they sure did do a lot of building, because we just had 60,000 in Guatemala. We got 800, over 800 in Louisiana alone. Man, it must have been a lot of them Israelites. See, we don't like to talk. We want to show yourself in the story. We believe in being the source. The oldest human-made structure in America is older than the Egyptian pyramids. So I don't know why a little bit of Hebrew Israelite who's not even older than the Egyptians would come out here talking. Hold on, y'all. I gotta mute y'all because we can't cuss over here. We over here with church folk. All right, so right here, man, we at the Indian Mounds, and they talking. We jumping the gate. Yeah, this BCU. Yeah, nigga, F12. This BCU. Yeah, we running up on the mound. Hop the gate. Go get the laws. Let's walk. Oldest site. We on ancestral territory right there. They say this site was found to be the oldest mound 11,000 years ago. Now they already came out with dates that was older that predated that. But let's walk though. That's why I don't deal with those science guys. Despite the time and reputation of Egypt, Great Pyramids of Giza, America actually contains more pyramid structures than the rest of the planet combined. So they don't even have one in Israel. But man, we have more than the planet combined. This brother come out here talking about the Hebrew Israelites did it. Why bring you the Tyrian masons and builders? And the brother highlighted something that actually was a title. Check, that ain't nothing I said, bro. That was a source. I was sourcing something up, and he highlighted it, and as if I said it. But let's walk. Let me show you what I did say. The building and adorning of Solomon temples will be shown in the history of Tyrus, the building place of David, to put any suspicion whether Tyrians themselves unassisted by others built sculptures in Americas. The Israelites, I repeat, the Israelites had no practical knowledge of architecture until the ages of the buildings by the Tyrians of Solomon Temple. So a little bit of Israelite, are the Israelites and the American Indians the same? No, of course not. These are little bitty boys. All right, just like the Phoenician king Hiram sent Lebanese to carpenters to Jerusalem to the place of King David. Likewise, Hiram cedar trees originally King Solomon constructed his on the construction of his own palace as well as the temple of Jerusalem. Y'all are outsourcing your masonry. Hiram, right here, King James chapter 9, First Kings chapter 9, 27, Hiram sent the navy, his servant, shipmen that had knowledge of the sea and the servants of Solomon. All right, and so y'all are outsourcing y'all people for as your travel, your navigation. Now we come here, according to the tradition of the Phoenicians and Egyptians derived civilizations from them, and Egyptians are intended to rise the Phoenician nation proper. That must have meant that Egyptians derived their civilization from the same country in which the Phoenicians owed their origins. Now when we come here to the Egyptian Hatshepsut Punt expedition, Punt meaning the land of the gods, or sa.neter, right? God's land. Now we had through the reign of Amenhotep, the reign of Ramesses II, Ramesses the third, also had
10 minutes.
Their gods are coming from this place called Punt, right? Now let's walk. Now, according to the study of ancient Egyptian orders, including corn cobs, pineapples, and other New World plants displayed of religious offering, the Queen's Mirror coincides with reports that she sent expeditions overseas to a mysterious land called Punt. That is what's in this book. We're not saying nothing about we the Israelites. Let me talk to them. Okay, let's go to the Bible. Ezekiel 8 and 14. I'm saying, brother, this whole story that y'all have that the world is going around with is actually a story of the people of the Americas, which the bloodlines of the gods come from. Check. So in your Bible, when we talking about Ezekiel 8 and 14, then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was towards the north, and behold, said a woman weeping for Tammuz. We have these weeping deities, these deities that die and resurrect. The woman, the tears represent the rain, and the male counterpart represents the agriculture. Okay, so Tammuz, biblically, a Babylonian god of corn and vegetation. He died that winter and was resurrected each spring. Okay, so when he said here atheists, I said my gods are centered around agriculture. Tammuz was the original sun god of Ea, or this brother is a corn. Let's walk. Similar remarks, the ceremony of death and resurrection was a representation of revival and plant life, dying and rising gods. Okay, so all dying and resurrecting gods are agricultural deities. Check. Now let's walk. Osiris, Tammuz, Adonis, Antis, the people of Egypt. They did a yearly decay rival of life, especially vegetable life, personified a god who annually died and rose from the dead. The deities were thought to be incarnations of spirit of fertility, and specifically the spirit of particular crops, such as corn. Oh, ain't no getting out of this. Ain't no getting out of this. Isis. There are at least some grounds for seeing her as a corn goddess. Why? Because there go Osiris right there laid down. All this time they tell you that it's Turkish wheat, but we know that Turkish wheat, when you look it up, it's actually Indian corn. Brooklyn Museum, Reggie, all of y'all, Zion Lex, all y'all taking these tours down there and never took these people to the corn mummy and let them see your boy Osiris land there, okay? Corn god, all of them going back. Jesus, Yeshua get it too. Bring Yeshua out here. On the post of a tree, dies to save mankind. The cardinal points of corn and wine gods worship, incarnation and reincarnation. Paul identified Jesus as a corn god. Check. Jesus, listen, man. This is the blood of the New Testament, the corn of the wine worshipers and bread and wine. Jesus himself was a corn god. That's why he died and resurrected. All right, meet the maize corn, Lord, of dried ears of corn. Big sin, big sin. Now, we all know that corn or maize is genetically modified and came from the Americas. When Columbus Columbus said he was on a quest for Jerusalem. Check, they looking for the Holy Land. Cortez got here, they heard rumors of gold in the existing city of this wonderful, marvelous place that's better than everywhere else in the world. Right here at the Rotunda in Washington, D.C., this is Cortez meeting Montezuma, and down here, who you see? You see Mary, the Virgin Mary. Check. Why? So when we look around the world, the Egyptians and lied to everybody and told them that the Black Madonna and the Christians and the Hebrews stole it from them. I'm on the Hebrew side on that. They lying because y'all niggas stole it from us. So meet the Montserrat Black Madonna. All of these Black Madonna, these deities with the woman holding the child, and she's shown weeping, or she's shown that
5 minutes.
Birth. Meet Saint Anne right here. Saint Anne is the mother of the Virgin Mary, according to traditions and certain apocryphal writings. Okay, now right here in South France, at Santa Anne and Ray, they celebrate her every year. Pilgrims march across the streets every year to come celebrate her. When the Spanish got here, they marched in the war with Cortez, Montezuma and them, they noticed that they were carrying a form of Marianism. Now, the Moors also did it. The Jews in Seville also did it. But they had the Virgin Mary. And so here we had Toki, our grandmother, and they fused the gods as they did with Serapis and Osiris. You feel me? And so they're gonna make a fusion of the god. This is John Paul, the Pope, right here. Juan Diego, he ended up having a vision, and they end up using that god Tanasha to bridge her and Virgin Mary together, and that's how you get Lady Guadalupe. I know he didn't write the book, so I'm gonna teach him what I was talking about. Every year, millions seek pilgrims to visit Mexico City to come see who? Lady Guadalupe, which is the fake virgin. See, Pope Francis came to the image, kneeling to the black queen right there. John Paul installed in October 78. I'm talking about as soon as he got done signing the paper, he was on his way to Mexico, not to Jerusalem, not to none of them places over there. Meet Tanasin. Okay, as you see right here, she's Ed Burt. She has the Aztec belt around her. It's worship around the world. Now I'm gonna take you over here to Revelations 12:1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed in the sun under her feet, and she was bearing child. And she appeared in the wonders in the heaven, a red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns. And they thereafter, okay, and so she gonna be and when the dragon saw him cast from earth, persecuted the woman and brought forth the man child. And the dragon was worth the woman and went to make remnants of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ. Let's walk. Man, damn, you should stop my time. Man, I got a boy in front of me. It ain't let me see my slideshow. All right, so right here, this is Tanasin is who they are talking about. This is the one wearing the stars, and it appeared in Revelations 12. Okay, this is the 7 heads that appeared to her right here. Okay, in the new house, the 7 snakes with the 7 heads right here. Okay, Our Lady Guadalupe, seen crushing, standing over the serpent, all those serpent gods. Me, Christos Negro, San Ramos. Bartholomew de Casa, he said he claimed that the Indians presented crucified Christ and witness image that appeared in multiple chapels throughout Central America. All right, on August the 9th, they flood the streets and worship a black Jesus, Cristo Negros. All right, when the Spanish got to the Quiche Mayans, they almost had a fight because they didn't identify Jesus Christ with a patron God. Okay, they said it was no different than worshiping their own. Okay, which would have been Hun Hapu, who equated to Jesus because he was sacrificed on a tree. They're getting the story in these Bibles. Nobody never been to Atlantis. Niggas ain't never met nobody in the Bible. They're getting it from here. Acts 5:30. The gods of our father raised up Jesus, whom was slung and who hung on the tree. We're not taking the Israelite story, they're taking ours. In the response, Abbott writes, Columbus knew he was nowhere near Indian, that he charmed the people. He called them Los Gentes Indios, meaning the people of God. Nobody never went nowhere else around the world and called no one else the children of God, but here in the Americas. Nobody never thought nobody to be the children of Israel, but here in America. Deuteronomy 7:6, for there are people unto the Lord thy God have chosen thee to be a special people above, unto himself above all people upon the face of the earth. And he was talking about us, Los Gentes Indios, the Indians. The Hebrew Israelites are our son. Matthew 13, he answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. Legendary TopCatz. Bars.
Tom. All right. He was going in. Guerrilla Hebrew.
Yes, sir.
And you match that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let's get it. It's your last 15 or your rebuttal.
And then my last 15.
Your rebuttal and your last 15. Yes, and then TopCatz get the last rebuttal for this part of the conversation. So 3 minutes is on the clock. Whenever you're ready, let's get it.
All praise again to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. It is truly awe-striking the type of intellectual incompetence is being put on display tonight by our brother TopCatz. I'll explain. So he brings allegations against me that I misused parts of his book. He only addressed one of the quotes I used. Notice he didn't address page 27 that literally said that there was an American Indian tribe that was Jews and spoke Hebrew and frequently named themselves Solomon, right? Now, in neither of those sources, and those could have been quotes of a source, but neither of those times of those sources did he then continue on and refute it or disagree with it, right? Or if he did, he would have showed us that, right? But then he misrepresents a quote I said where I reject haplogroups. I don't reject blood tests. I have no problem with recent autosomal DNA tests. That's why I showed mine. That's why I challenged you and asked you, could you show one that attested to you being American Indian? I showed one. Why can't you? You're the one that's claiming to be an American Indian, right? So a haplogroup, right, and your Y chromosome and things of that nature are not the same as your recent autosomal DNA. Right? Now, what's funny is he tried to utilize a couple of dates on some structures. And the question I would ask is, brother, what dating method was utilized? What methodology was employed in order to come up with those numbers? Because the moment that you mentioned a site in which you didn't agree with the dating, you said, I don't mess with those science guys. You don't get to do that. You don't get to use their conclusion on sites, right, when it's convenient for you and reject it when it doesn't work. Either you agree with them or not. Do you even understand the methodology that's used to make those determinations? I don't think you do. And you better buckle up because you may be asked questions about it in the Q&A round. So you better be able to articulate the scientific methodology. If not, I reject any date that you put forward. If you don't understand how these things work, you can't talk about them, brother.
1 minute.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally that simple. I'm gonna get back into it. Just try to get something off before, right? When the Spaniards came to Mexico, they were standing guard cold nights. They began to wonder who these Indians really were, right? They saw that they had a limpawala, right, which is an obsidian knife, and they used it for sacrifice, but they also used it for circumcision, which was a Jewish rite. So now we don't just have nomenclature, linguistic connections. We also have traditional connections for the ancient Aztecs and the Israelites, right? Am I almost out of time?
Yeah, you got about 15 seconds.
All right, all praises. We get into the next round.
But all right, so let's keep that momentum going. This is the last constructive round, the last 15-minute rounds. We got one more rebuttal after this before we get into the cross-examination portion of tonight's debate. Gorilla Hebrew, let me know when you're ready. And we can
all praise Yahweh Shemel Shah. I'm ready.
All right, let's go.
Right, again, all praise Yahweh Shemel Shah. I also want to point something out. Notice, y'all, I played the real chief, and he's crickets on that. He has absolutely nothing to say about the real Native American chief attested to being an Israelite. He's got nothing on that, right? I just want that on the record, right? Now, let's get back into the sources, into the scholarship. Some old men of Yucatan say that they have heard from their ancestors. And again, if you've been following, my sources are at the bottom of all these pages for the record, all right? Some old men of Yucatan say that they have heard from their ancestors the country was peopled by a certain race who came from the east when God delivered by opening for them 12 roads through the sea. If this is true, all the inhabitants of the Indies must be of Jewish descent, right? Boom. More evidence for the American Indians being Israelites. Now, he talked about, oh, we ain't no Hebrews. They Tainos. Well, here's a Taino, and they found Taino artifacts in archaeology and anthropology, right? Possible origin of mysterious figurines, a cache of a 600-year-old statuettes, may be the first evidence of a lost civilization and are said to have been discovered deep in the Puerto Rican mountains. I actually taught the Bible right outside the museum in which these are housed, right? Now, on the right, we have the Paleo-Hebrew or the Proto-Sinaitic alphabet, right? Or the sloppy ancient Hebrew alphabet that's found in archaeology. To the left, we have what was written on the stones. Anybody with their naked eye can clearly see the similarities in these symbols. The ancient Paleo-Hebrew and the work in which that was found on these stones from the ancient Tainos, right? But I thought the Tainos had no connection to the Hebrews. Right. And again, the word Tahan is actually a Hebrew word, is where Taino comes from. Right. We'll keep going. right? Of the creek, it was said, when they met at night, it is professed to be to gladden and unite their hearts before Yahiwah. Yahiwah is who they call God. Sounds like Yahweh, which I've been calling on, right? Yahiwah. They say Yahushai with great energy, or like Yahushai, which we've been saying. The first word is nearly the Hebrew characters of the name Joshua or Savior, which is what Jesus is named after, or Yahushai. He shall deliver, he shall save, the same name that the book of Joshua, the man in the book of Joshua, is named after in the Hebrew, right? That's in the book 10 Tribes of Israel. Here, I have it here physically, right? Moving on. They claim Yehovah, another tribe calls him Yehovah instead of Yehiwah, but we see that same tetragrammaton base in multiple Native American tribes for who they believe to be the creator. Is that a coincidence? Right? I thought worshiping of that God would probably indicate a tradition passed on from their ancient ancestors who were Israelites, right? They claim Yehovah was the name of the great king. He was a man, yet a spirit, and great and glorious being. His name was never mentioned in common talk. This great king commanded them to rest the seventh day. Oh, that's kind of like the 10 Commandments, right? They were told not to work on this day and that they should devote it to talking about God. Yahweh created the world in 7 days, or like Genesis. At the time of the creation, all people were made from the ground and the same color as the ground. Origin American Indians. This is what the American Indians believe. I don't know what TopCatz talking about, right? Or how he could demonstrate Tammuz being an American deity, right? That's crazy. Nothing that he presented connected Tammuz to originating in the Americas as a deity. Nothing, right? That was, again, he's still off topic. Right now, he's off topic still. Because the topic of this debate is not where gods originated. It's are the American Indians Israelites. Simple. He has not been on topic tonight at all, right? Which is virtual forfeiture. They had teachers and prophets that taught them to obey God and their parents. Oh, honor thy mother and father, like the commandment say, okay, cool. They warned people of an approaching flood, but said that the world would be destroyed by water only once, and that later it would be destroyed by fire. Oh, what the Bible says? The rainbow was the covenant that he wouldn't destroy the world with water anymore. Okay, cool, boom. When God would send a shower of pitch and then a shower of fire, which would burn up everything. You know, just exactly what the Bible says is what these Native Americans believe. In 1492, Columbus sailed the blue of the ocean, and his interpreter was a Jew named Lou, and that's true. And this brother even actually referenced the Jewish interpreter that was with Columbus. Well, why would Columbus bring a Jewish interpreter? Right, it's via the Jewish Encyclopedia. Luis de Torres was a conversio, apparently born Yusuf bin Halevi. Havery, chosen by Columbus for his knowledge of Hebrew. Why would Columbus specifically choose somebody who spoke Hebrew? Luis de Torres was the first European to tread American soil. Well, according to Simon Wiesenthal, he says in the book Sails of Hope that after the landfall in the Americas, right?
Hey, real quick, my fault, Guerrilla Hebrew. You got 10 minutes on the clock.
Yes, sir.
But TopCatz, we gotta get you back on camera. We gotta get you back on camera, Chief. Yeah, one of the rules is debaters gotta keep their cameras on. So we gotta get you back on camera. My guy. Let's go. My apologies.
Sure, so,
you got 10 minutes on the clock.
You good, King. Appreciate you. Right. So Simon Wiesenthal says, right, about Luis de Torres, that Hebrew interpreter that Christopher Columbus brought the first white man to set foot in the Americas, right? He says in the book Sails of Hope that after the landfall in America, the first words addressed to the natives by Luis de Torres were Hebrew. Why would he be communicating with people in Hebrew that had no knowledge of Hebrew, that couldn't speak Hebrew, and were not Hebrews themselves? What sense would that make? Why would Christopher Columbus seek out somebody who was an expert in that language to communicate with the people he anticipated to run into, right? And when you understand, when you go into 1492, the book of Second Ezra, with the account of the migration of the Northern Kingdom outside of the Middle East into what they call Arsareth, or another land, was his inspiration for his voyage, right? That's documented in 1492. So understand that he knew he was coming here to encounter Israelites. So why he brought Hebrew interpreters? If not, why bring a Hebrew interpreter? Right? Let's keep going. Cherokee High Holy Days that parallel with Israelite holidays. The first full moon of spring, first full moon of spring, Passover, the mature corn festival, Feast of First Fruits, the great new moon feast or the harvest moon, which correlates with the Feast of Trumpets that we see in the Bible, right? Now, like the Jews, the Indians offer their first fruits. They keep their new moons and the Feast of Expiation at the end of September or in the beginning of October. They divide their year into 4 seasons, corresponding with the Jewish festivals. According to Charlot and Long, the brother of a deceased husband receives his widow into his house as a guest, and after a suitable time considers her as a legitimate consort. That's called a levirate marriage. It's a practice that we see in the Torah, where if your brother dies and he didn't have any sons, then you're obligated to marry his wife and raise him up a son. There is also much analogy between the Hebrews and the Indians in that which concerns various rites and customs, such as the ceremonies of purification, the use of the bath, the ointment of bear's grease, fasting, and the manner of prayer. The Indians likewise abstain from the blood of animals, as also from fish without scales. They consider diverse quadrupeds unclean, as also certain birds and reptiles, and they are accustomed to offer as holocaust or as a burnt sacrifice the firstlings of a frog. This is via Peruvian antiquities. So this is a laundry list of Israelite customs and laws that were held up by various native peoples over here in the Americas. Why? If they're not Israelites, why? Right? Moving on. The following is from Alexander Messengers, published many years ago in Philadelphia, PA. A government officer stationed at Lake Superior at an early day before any white settlers had invaded that part of the country, after becoming acquainted with a number of Indian tribes, found one tribe in possession of a copper tube tightly soldered. And when asked what it contained, they said they were not able to tell, but they had received it from their ancestors a long time ago. The officer finally prevailed upon them to let him open the article, and when he did so, he found it filled with parchment with inscriptions that he could not read. But by sending the parchment to Washington City, where it was examined by competent Hebrew scholars, it was declared to be a part of the 5 books of Moses. Here we have another link in the chain proving that the Hebrews were here many years before the white man came to this continent, and that the present North American Indians are their descendants. And again, that's here in this book, right? Okay, moving on. Right? The immense population with which the continent of America was found to be inhabited, and its first discovery were the direct lineal descendants of the 9.5 tribes, or a large part of them, that were carried captive by the Assyrian king since their banishment from their own country had been lost to their brethren the Jews and all the historians of latter time. This is via a book called A View of the American Indians. So we see attestation after attestation in history that the American Indians are Israelites. We see him doing nothing in the wise of refutation of any of these facts, right? So now I want to say this. Where we at? Yeah. Tonight, I have presented a substantial body of evidence, including direct testimonies from American Indians and the support of their traditions. Furthermore, the individual's own book aligns with my perspective and contradicts his own stance. In addition to this, we have supplied archaeological and linguistic evidence, eyewitness testimonies, and robust anthropological data to construct a comprehensive and compelling case. On the other hand, he has not provided any substantive counter-arguments to challenge this evidence. And if he has, somebody tell me where they were. Somebody tell me where he presented any substantial counter-argument. No.
5 minutes.
He's been filibustering. The brother's been ranting, right? He's been narrative pushing. And I'm not surprised. I want to go back up real quick to this slide, right? Because this is what he had to do today. What I had to do was show the parallels between the people in which I say are the Israelites and Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. I then had to present evidence for the American Indians being Israelites. Here's what he had to do today in order to get a W. He's claiming victories on rounds. He's saying bars, things of that nature, but he didn't do any of the challenges that he actually had to in order to win tonight. And this is what he had to do. To effectively counter the points I've made today, TopCatz must accomplish one of 2 significant tasks. One would be illustrating that multiple distinct groups of whom we don't recognize as having Israelite heritage have historically undergone an identical set of challenges. This would demonstrate that these adversities are not exclusive, which could potentially cast doubt on their uniqueness. He didn't do that, right? Now, this is another thing that he could have done in order to win. Or he should provide evidence to dispute the assertion that the issues presented are not impacting Black, Latino, and Native American communities, despite the common knowledge that they do, rooted in our own personal experiences. What I brought out in the first half in regards to Deuteronomy 28 and the how we as Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people are affected by those things, we all know it to be true. We don't even need to see the statistics and the pictures. We all have experienced it, right? But he didn't do either of those things. Therefore, he couldn't possibly have won. He didn't even truly attempt to do any of those things, right? This will require, right, in order for him to do any of the tasks that were assigned to him, this will require a substantial and well-supported argument to challenge the claims put forth. He has not done that. What he has done again is filibuster. What he has done again is rant. What he has done again is truly demonstrate the scholastic inferiority of his paradigm, of his thought process, right? Of the entire Aboriginal, Native American, or American Indian movement, right? They can't stay on topic. They can't stay on task. And like I said, in times past, the brother was in waters too deep and he drowned, or else he would have been literally tackling and attacking the sources, the documentation that I was putting forward directly. This at no point ever happened. I showed you a real Native American chief tell you that him and his people and the indigenous peoples of the Americas are Israelites, demonstrate a linguistic connection, a traditional connection, etc. Right? We showed you his own book that said it. He said, oh, you misread, but he didn't show where he disagreed with it in his book. He disagreed with Israelites having knowledge of building structures, but that's not the point of me going to that reference. The point of me going to that reference was the fact that you let that sitting there and hanging in your book, that there were American Indians who were Israelites, and you didn't refute it. Why, brother? Why would you leave your jaw out there like that? You got a mouthful of goals, brother. I wouldn't jeopardize those things, putting my jaw on the line with silly points like that. I just wouldn't do that. It's not smart, brother. Right? But of course, in closing, as always, and as usual, we give all praises, all honor, and all glory to the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the creator of heaven and earth, whose name is Yahweh. And we do so in the name of his only begotten son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, whose name is Yahweh Shai, who he cannot demonstrate, originate as characters in the Americas whatsoever, though he claimed it. He read articles about all these Near Eastern deities and didn't show one shred of evidence other than asserting about corn. Guess what? The maritime peoples of the old world could have easily, and I believe they easily navigated over here and got corn and brought it back. That didn't mean there were people over here that were teaching them religion or spirituality or about gods, and they were bringing it back and evangelizing. That doesn't mean that. It doesn't equate to that. You provided no evidence to substantiate that. You simply asserted it because you saw corn. It's going to take more than corn to prove your point, brother. Right? So, with that, again, I give all praise Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. Yahweh is undefeated. He always gets the victory, man. And it is what it is, man. Big up TopCatz, big up sa.neter, and definitely big up to my brother Domo, man, on the moderator.
For sure. Hey, it's a marathon, people. These brothers to put in a marathon. We about to go ahead and close out.
That should definitely work. We definitely.
But you're not done because you still got 3 more minutes. Before we get to the.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, I ain't ready, man. But let's get. Okay, well, first, the brother misrepresented my book, and I had to go in there and clean it up for him. He didn't know he was finna come out here and tell y'all what the book say. Like I wasn't gonna come out here and let y'all know exactly what I was saying. He ain't read this book, and it don't even take you that long to read it. He ain't read that book. I just came back and I showed and proved. He said it's gonna take more than corn. Well, you're gonna have to explain what is your God doing being a corn God when corn is originating from America. Like I said, homie, nobody in the Bible ain't never met them people. Them people that wrote in the Bible ain't never met Jesus. Paul ain't never met Jesus. We don't believe in ghosts. Or like Ariel who got woke up on the couch by. Nah, we don't believe in ghosts. What we had showed and proved tonight. That this brother is a colonizer, Deuteronomy 28. He stayed away from it. He got, I watched him 4-0. I done took my belt off and I really tore him up. That 4th round, Hebrew Israelite, bro, y'all ain't old enough. The pyramid, everything older than y'all, bro. These civilizations are older than you. How are you us if the civilizations are older than you? You yourself told us the world ain't but 5,000 or 6,000 years old, nigga. And I just showed you a nigga in Florida down there. Man, come on, man. Bro, I watched you. You tried to pick it up at the end, but it was too late. And then you didn't bring information. Your last round, bro, you just talked for the last 6 minutes. You sat there talking. Bro, I worked my whole, every round I worked. Every shot I brought in here, I got off tonight. And you made, that was a horrible performance. Your PowerPoint was horrible, brother. You didn't take this serious. I already knew in my heart you didn't study, right? This was something quickly put together and some people helped you. All right, you misrepresented my book. I had to come get you right and show you. Brother, I'm not the Israelite, like I told you. We've been in pyramids. Y'all didn't have the knowledge to build. That's why y'all came and got us for King to build Solomon Temple. Yeah, that's why y'all outsourcing us for our work that we do on the sea. This brother said they brought Louis de Torres. Why would Columbus bring a Jewish speaker? Because the nigga was a Jew. He just converted the day before he left. He's a Jew. He's been speaking Hebrew his whole life. He didn't come over there because if you know the Taino people and you know Ayeti, then you know they didn't speak no Hebrew. If they did, why is Ayeti not a Hebrew word? Check. So how are they coming over there talking Hebrew? No, they came to colonize like we showed tonight. Okay,
30 seconds.
Like 12 tribe choice, 12 tribe choice. Like that white boy said, why is everybody in America? And then we look up, it's there because of doctrine discovery. He forgot Columbus was a Jew. Did he forget that? Why would he bring a Jew? They Jews. The Jews came to colonize and we cultured. And the white boys help fund y'all organization that you are a part of today, and you're trying to be a radical movement against it. All right? But we culture. Bars. Easy work, 4-0. Best it ever did. Away with it.
Tom. All right. So now it's time for everybody's favorite portion of the debate. And that's the cross-examination portion. Now we do it a little bit more respectful over here. So each debater will get 3 questions, and the responding debater gets 90 seconds to answer uninterrupted. Remember, if y'all ask multi-layered questions, if you ask them a yes or no question, make them explain the why. That's all, you know what I'm saying? That's all it takes. We're going to start with GRLA Hebrew. You're going to ask the first question. TopCatz, you got 90 seconds to answer. GRLA, whenever you're ready.
Hey, definitely, man. What's going on, brother? So look, can you explain the scientific methodology employed to determine the dates on any of the things you referenced, whether it be the structures, the mounds, or the allegedly 340,000-year-old father of all people?
Well, brother, to answer that question, you would have to go ask the scientists, okay, who presented the evidence, okay? So what you do is you screenshot that source and then you go do your due diligence and research it, okay? You yourself said, look, is the world only 5,000 or 6,000 years old, brother. So I think any scientist will defeat that, okay? You're not old enough, brother, but to answer your question, go ask the scientists who did the research, brother. Because it's not gonna help you.
All right, bet. That's his answer. Chief TopCatz.
Yes,
so
sir.
You.
Okay. Brother GRLA Hebrew. Deuteronomy 4:2 asks us not to add nor take away from the Bible. Brother, the name of this debate was Hebrew Israelites, American Indians. So can you point us to the verse in the Bible, brother, that says that Hebrew Israelites are American Indians? And I want to see that word American Indian in there. Go.
Well, first off, Deuteronomy 4:2 does not say you cannot add to the Bible. I already elaborated that to you 2 days ago. Thank you for demonstrating the serial issue that you have of comprehension and attention. It means don't add to the law of God. The law of God is summarized in the first 5. Therefore, right, the premise of your question is entirely flawed. On top of that, you're asking me to take a word, right, that you guys didn't even call yourselves and then superimpose it into a text that predates the concept of the Indies that was misnomered and superimposed upon the indigenous peoples of North, Central, South America. If you think that's some type of standard, that's some type of point, you know, you're just further demonstrating your intellectual incompetence, brother. That's my answer.
So your answer was no.
And your answer was no, you couldn't give me anything about the scientific methodology. You don't understand how scientific methodology works.
All right. Let's go. Guerrilla Hebrew, it's on you. Next question.
Yeah, so why was Hebrew the first language spoken when Luis de Torres got off the boat and encountered the indigenous peoples in the Caribbean?
I think I answered it. The reason was Luis de Torres was actually a Jew, okay, who converted the day before he left. This brother didn't come over there speaking no Hebrew because the indigenous people, the Taino people, didn't speak Hebrew. If they spoke Hebrew then, they would speak it now. If they spoke it then, they would speak it now. Just like the source I pulled up that showed you, the American Indians, the Cherokees, the Seminoles, they didn't speak it. And the people that are saying this, guess what they are? They're Jews. All the people that are finding the rocks, the stones, that are saying these people are speaking Hebrew. When you look into their background, they're Jews. So they're trying to write themselves in the story. This is that is a tool or a method of colonization, brother. So you're help pushing a colonizer. Because what we have to do is ask the people. And that guy that you talk to, he don't count. Okay, that's his tribe. That's his nation.
All right, Tom. TopCatz. So you.
Okay. My question is, why did you join a movement that was created and funded by white philanthropists or missionaries?
Can you demonstrate where the organization that I joined, which is called Great Millstone, was ever founded by white philanthropists or missionaries? The answer obviously is no, of course not. That is a invalidatable claim that you're putting. You talking about a Black Jewish synagogue that is not connected to the subsequent Black Hebrew Israelite movement. You have to understand something. The Black brother, I got 90 seconds to talk. You don't get to talk, brother. It's very simple. You got to be able to control your emotions and your ADD. So again, understanding these things, you have the Black Jewish movement, right? The Ethiopian Jewish movement, which you delved into in depth. Yes, that's separate from the Black Hebrew Israelite movement that came out of Elder Abba Bivens, 1969, 1 West Harlem, New York. The ideologies were entirely different, and you cannot demonstrate a single dollar of white funding that was funneled into any of the 1 West organizations, brother.
I don't know why he said that when Abba Bivens was a part of this synagogue that he's saying he got the white funding. But anyway,
question. I gotta understand why. Hold on, because I didn't respond. Like I thought it was 90 seconds uninterrupted. So
no, I apologize for that, brother. I thought
no. But if that's the case, now I need to be able to do that to you.
Well,
right?
I don't think
because
let's keep it cool though.
Because
you can't
listen,
do that.
Let's keep it
because that's under that is very underhanded.
We can get in the blender.
Hold on.
TopCatz.
We can do this when we get to the
Hold on.
We can do this when we get to the back. Like, to the
Guerrilla
joint.
is right, man. You guys
say that for the after party.
Oh yeah. We save all this for the after party. That's what the after party for. You know what I'm saying? Like we gentlemen right now. And then when we get to the after
right
party,
now, Domo. I just went live for the after party. We're getting a head start.
Okay, bet. We gonna be right over there. We got Guerrilla Hebrew got one more question. TopCatz got one more question, and we closing out. Let's make sure again, uninterrupted. Let's go.
Yeah,
Guerrilla Hebrew. It's on you.
Can you show me any group of people that we do not claim to be Israelites in the world that you can illustrate experience the curse list that I laid out in rounds 1 and 2? Any group of people?
Yes, sir. As I stated in that opening rebuttal, that right now the people in Palestine are being we've witnessed them in the 1940s when they went in and created Israel and Palestine. something that you have that you failed to leave out of that list of people of these curses happening to, because didn't they take the land from the Palestinians and create Israel, brother? I keep hearing you straying away from that because you don't want to bring up the fact that those people exist. And so that's my answer to that, brother. Right there, what's going on in Palestine. The people need y'all help. Okay? Can you control yourself, brother? I had 90 seconds. Okay, control your ADD.
That was me. That was me.
No, I'm fucking with him. I mean, I'm messing with him. No, I was done. I was just messing with him.
Oh yeah. All right. Last one, TopCatz. Last question, and then we're gonna close it out with the closing round. Last question.
All right, man. I say this here, brother. Why didn't you bring any significant evidence? Like, okay, so you claim Hebrew. Why didn't you show us how you genetically tied to it? Are you a convert? Because we heard you grew up Catholic and you converted off a World Star video, brother. So my question would be, do you have any Hebrew blood? Because we see the genealogies in the family. Can you prove through genealogy lineage and have an ancestor with a name, a date of birth, and a place of geography here on this earth? Can you prove that person had Hebrew lineage, brother, and that blood is running through your veins?
Yeah, so you said, why didn't I bring any substantial genetic evidence? I very clearly, literally showed my genetic testing. I then showed how it was consistent with the oral tradition of the Akan people, right? And then how the Akan people were brought into slavery into the Americas. So I emphatically answered that question. Again, you have a hard time paying attention and you have a hard time with comprehension. I get it. But that question was directly answered. Anybody can go back to my rebuttal to your first round and my second round and see all of that information. Anybody can go back to my 12 tribe chart debate with Garfield and see that it was the literal premise of the entire debate, my genetic testing, it coupled with the genealogical record and oral tradition. Right. And I demonstrate how my autosomal genetic testing that I presented to everybody was consistent with my genealogical record that I could substantiate going back. Right. So, I mean, there's that.
All right. Now, we're getting into the end of this thing. We're gonna knock out these ending rounds. And then I know y'all want to take the gloves off. I know, you know what I'm saying? We gotta keep it respectful for the folks. But we're gonna get to the point where we're able to take the gloves off in just a second. Guerrilla Hebrew.
I think we can shake on it, man. It was a good friendly fade. I think we can shake on
it.
Yeah.
It's love. Y'all did y'all thing for sure. But 5 minutes close out, Guerrilla Hebrew.
Yeah, so
and
again,
then TopCatz, and we out of here. Let's go.
All right, yeah. So again, I give all praise, all honor, and all glory, of course, to the Most High God, Yahweh. I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world calls Christ, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is truly undefeated. Everybody saw what happened tonight. Everybody saw the points that were made, the bombs that were dropped. If our brother TopCatz missed it, too bad for him. He just go take a look at the replay, and he'll understand just like everybody else did. I mean, even that last question spoke volumes. The fact that he would ask that when I literally provided the genetic evidence is crazy. Like the moment that he tried to call that into question, all I did was open my previous slideshows and drag the slides over. I did this already, right? So I showed genetics, I showed linguistics. But here's the cool thing. He asked me, can I prove I'm a Hebrew? But guess what? That's not the topic of the debate. So again, let's say I'm not a Hebrew at all. The topic is, are American Indians Hebrew? I'm not claiming to be American Indian, though unlike you, I can show genetic testing that says I do have Native American in me. I can actually demonstrate that genetic testing. You going to a genealogy to show a Seminole Indian in your family means nothing, because Black people were granted status at a time in the Seminole tribe who weren't actually Seminole. You had the Seminoles take slaves, possess them, and then free them, right? I believe that was 1866, right? So that doesn't demonstrate, or that doesn't substantiate you being a native Indian. That's why I asked, did you have a blood test, since you're talking about all this blood, and who American Indians are was the topic of the debate, not who I am, not who the slaves who were taken to Haiti were, which is my patrilineal descendant. That wasn't the topic of the discussion whatsoever. So again, that last question, it spoke so many volumes, again, for your ability to pay attention and actually respond and refute what actually got presented, right? And as well as your ability to not be on topic. Brother, you were not on topic at all this entire debate. It was a joke, right? If you want to do your filibuster, go on your channel and do it. Tell those people you're a chief. Again, you said, well, that chief, he ain't got nothing to do with my people, but he's an actual chief. Who are your people? Where is the tribe in which you're a chief over? A big chief. Who are the little chiefs in which that are subservient to you, follow you, or up under your tutelage and guidance that actually have a tribe? Come on, brother. This Aboriginal thing is crazy. Here's the cold part, right? We literally have which evidence that presented West African and Jews all over the place, scattered throughout the world, Israelites scattered throughout the world, who fit the curses of Deuteronomy 28. The best you can give me is that Filipinos got brought into Mexico, and that's how there was a change in who the Native Americans are. What does Mexico got to do with your tribe? What does Mexico got to do with all the other tribes? Filipinos weren't brought into Illinois. Filipinos weren't brought into Massachusetts. Explain why those Native Americans over there look like that, right? Chinos did assimilate with certain Indios, yes. And the Negroes there in Mexico were totally separate. We're totally separate people. So none of that makes any sense. None of that validates your claims. And all of the claims of the abos consistently fall flat on their face. But I do appreciate this brother. I salute this brother. I mess with the brother. He's entertaining, right? But a scholar, no, right? Not at all. But he's entertaining. He seems like a cool dude. And he's one of the few abos that actually will step in the ring. So you got to give him that, because Dane Calloway steady on the run. Abo Power just ran from Jabari. Now, my man ain't ducking no fades, and I appreciate and respect him for that. But this wasn't even a close contest by any stretch of the imagination. And the viewers know, everybody know what it is. Everybody know what happened, right? So with that, I'm going to just give all praise, honor, and glory again to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Salute to my elder sa.neter, man, who I love, and man, who I appreciate, man, and who I've been knocking people over the head for the last decade on this platform, man. Since the tender age of 23, been doing my thing on this sa.neter TV platform, man. And when we see certain upstarts come on, it's so cute when they think they got it, right? It's so cute when they think they got it. Come on, man. Step it up. All praise Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Shalom.
All right, Tom. Going out strong. Let's get it. TopCatz, let's get it.
All right. You ready, Domo?
I'm ready when you ready, big dog.
I stay ready, as you see. Ooh, I told him I was gonna come out hard. I say first round, I'm coming right at you, bro. We gonna get that. We finna scratch on Groove. We about to get that. We got to, man. Nah, but shout out to the brother Gorilla Hebrew. Shout out to Sakari, all the brothers that's following him. Like I said earlier, man, I know how much work have to go into this. You know what I'm saying? You got to dedicate. I know the sacrifices that has to be made. And, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have took this debate if I didn't have no respect for you. I done turned down many fades. You know what I mean? But, I got respect for you. I got respect for what you're doing, the people that are following your movement. And so I want to get that out the way. But concerning tonight, I think roll that beautiful beam footage, and you're going to see. You're going to see why they don't play with TopCatz. You're going to see why they don't say my name. You're going to see why they get off the sidewalk when I come through there. You're going to see why I'm the baddest, hands down, to ever hold a microphone. The greatest of all time, dead or alive. Our work, easy work, man. I came, showed, and proved, man. This brother didn't even put a full presentation together. Y'all heard him say he was putting out old slides and articles from pre-debates. He came in here to do a bunch of talking like Jabari and Dan Calloway. Y'all got to keep the homie name out y'all mouth, man. Y'all know I take all the back fade. And Dan gonna get out there. But after you look at Dan, you got to come get that fade with me. Y'all say AP running from Jabari. I don't know. Jabari ain't nobody. Y'all see I put knots on his head. Oh, see the energy he have every time I come around. Nah, that's real because he been in the ring with me. He know when you come in there, he say, hey, man, out of everybody out here, that nigga hit hard. I mean, that youngster hit hard. Oh, but now, man, I do want to, first off, I want to appreciate everyone who purchased and came to support, everyone who came. I appreciate y'all. Sorry that I was tardy. I'm missing the fight right now. My young homies, Lil Keyshawn Davis, all the brothers out of Team USA. Y'all know I started out with boxing. So all my little brothers, man, they down here right now. They fighting tonight on ESPN. So I sacrificed a lot, you know what I'm saying, to be here. But I'm glad I came. I'm glad y'all came. Shout out to Domo. Man, hey, bro, I'm the best to ever do it with this right here, but you probably the best to ever do it on the moderator on that side, man. So appreciate you, your energy. Now that's real. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you, your energy for coming. Shout out to Uncle Si. So I already know what it is. So I was like, hey, TopCatz, you need to come on. I'm like, man, I'm coming, man. I'm coming. Now, shout out to sa.neter, man. Sa.neter gave me my first shot. You know, they blackballed me, man, when I first came in the game. And he don't even know it, but he was the first person to give me a shot. So I always kept it real with Sa. So he can't deny it. To the brother Gorilla Hebrew again, man, appreciate you taking this battle, man. Appreciate you for being here. And shout out to the work that you do. And that's my time, man. I am the legendary Big Chief TopCatz. Bars.
Hey, Tom, and with that, again, I like to say the final thanks. Appreciate everybody that pulled up, everybody's patience. We appreciate the debaters for putting forth the effort to give us the information. Everybody, y'all should have been taking notes. If you didn't learn something, you wasted your time. But with that being said, hey, the link to the debate or to the after party is already in the chat. Y'all already should be subscribed to sa.neter platform. So y'all get ready to pull up. Sa, you got any final words as we close out?
Yeah. I want to say peace and blessings to brother Gorilla Hebrew. And of course,